me and Ryan have been officially welcomed to the jungle that is Barstool Sports as we join their podcast network with today's show.
This week we have a very special guest, Paul Bissonnette, a.k.a. Biz Nasty.
I love shooting the shit. Thanks for having me.
At some point we need to have you on again, especially when you're done and you're unfiltered.
The video of you before the game, pumping them up, doing the, you know what I'm talking about, the patting on the legs.
Yeah. You stand up and you're vocal, and you do it for the better of the group.
How many beers would you have to drink for me to get one post on you?
And he opens up his briefcase. He did not have one sheet of paper in his briefcase. There was 12 Natty Lights. He goes, put these ones in at the bottom so they're colder.
Our white whale, Sidney Crosby.
Holy shit.
Wow.
You came a long way since Barry Melrose said you couldn't play in the National Hockey League.
I send him a Christmas card every year.
Kevin Bieksa got in a fight with Fedorov in the parking lot at Earl's after the game. I said, all right, sign him.
I'm a Russian gas junkie.
I'm trying to get it on Amazon Prime sent to my house now. Russian gas. Get me going every day.
Yeah.
I say, give me that sledgehammer. And I just did this $10,000 later, Biz. I said, Charlie, you stand at the top of the stairs here. Don't let the KGB down. And I took the guys down there, and I had beers down there for them.
Oh my God, that got me fired up, man.
That brought back memories.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 500 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka here in the Barstool Sports podcast family. Holy shit, the boys hit a nickel, Merls hit the over on that bet, and we are ready to rip it up. Paul Nasty Bissonnette, how excited are you for this episode today? 500.
All right, right back over to you, the OG father. Look at you with the All Right Hamilton t-shirt behind you, too.
Get it all out. Get it all out, yeah. Got
the flag's still bent, but he's got the All Right Hamilton shirt.
That's because it drapes over my recliner. Dude, I feel like I'm in a wheelchair. Not a big deal shirt. I got all the old shit here.
Look at that.
Was the national shirt when me and G self-financed that trip to the Stanley Cup back in 2017. Not a big deal. Wow, I'm excited, boys. This is so fucking crazy. We've been talking about this. We didn't make a big deal about it, but I guess it is, right?
And the fact that we're live, it's very fitting. We're going to have tons of amazing guests on, but I guess I'll just say start by saying I'm so grateful for you guys, and what a whirlwind this podcast has been. And I always say it, I don't end up on TNT if not for you guys, and I don't have the livelihood I have without you guys. So thank you very much. And of course, to all our guys behind the scenes, Pasha, Fish, Memesy. Am I forgetting anyone? Obviously you, G, but you're kind of like part of the group here.
Yeah, I think that's it. There's been a lot.
How about G's haircut in that Martin St. Louis interview?
Oh yeah, high and tight.
Holy shit, G.
I've had some tough haircuts over the years.
I mean, I'm not somebody that should be talking about haircuts, but that one I was like, whoa, I wasn't at that interview, thank God.
I mean, I think my haircut is how I got the name Granelli. I'm pretty sure I showed up with just a glob of hair gel in my hair the first day, and you're like, oh, look at this Italian fuck. And I was like, I'm not really even Italian. And you're like, we're calling you Granelli.
You look like you're Italian now. That snout. With that hook
I'm talking hair and you're talking snouts. Now we're really throwing stones.
How about back to RA's house? I totally forgot that I came and met you guys there. Oh,
buddy, so did I. I saw you standing up there. I'm like, what is that? Where? I right away I was like, where are we doing an interview in that? When he's standing up, you had your boots on, your tight jeans, you're ready to go out.
Oh yeah, I had the nut hugger jeans on.
That was the first time I met you, Biz. I had to come pick you up from your hotel room. And I think you were there with the Coyotes. We drove around the city, and that's when you originally told me about the idea that you were like, yeah, we filmed this thing called Biz Does BC. You know, we're probably just going to put it on the shelf now. You know, I'm going through like these lawsuits with this company. Me and my buddy Pasha filmed it. And that's when I texted Hank. I'm like, dude, Biz is like this fucking video guy. He's got this video. Hank's like, send it over to me. We send it over to him. Next thing you know, you're fucking joining the team.
Those were early days. That's when you guys had just moved into the New York office, the small one. And that's how it all kind of snowballed and came to be. But like I said, boys, I'm so grateful. I know it was the last member to join RA, but I'll send it back over to you. Introduce the two other mutants we got on board.
I forgot you actually did one at the house, man, until I just saw that the old pad. It was a house, not an apartment, by the way. I totally forgot that because soon to be ex. I was like, he was never here. She's like, oh, I swear to God, he was here one time. So fucking brain.
I
dead.
went down to your
into your smoke den man
your
cave.
smoke movie
like,
cave.
Opium dead.
You'd fail a drug test if you were even in the bathroom next door to that room.
If you walk by the house, fucking, you feel one. Paul, I mean, Biz, I appreciate the kind words you just said, but like, and I hate to sound like even slightly arrogant at all, but I've always said, like, me and Whit, won a title, right off the hop. We brought you in, and you made us a dynasty. Like, so, like, it's been reciprocal.
Chicago
each way,
Bulls,
so,
baby.
Dude,
Let's go.
It's been a fucking ride. So our producer, Mikey G.
All right, it's Dennis Rodman then for sure.
The worm.
Rebounds.
G, like, of all the lucky shit, I mean, me catching Witt's tweet, blah, blah, you here basically because Brendan Clancy fucked up the league he sent me, and that opened the whole door. It's crazy how life turned out, but here you are, buddy. It's been 8 years.
It's wild. I still think of the first day I showed up and you guys had one microphone and you guys were 6 inches away. Yeah, right here. Like, you guys were 6 inches away from each other's faces, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, I have all this equipment back at my house. Next time we show up, I'll bring it. Right away, I went from RA's house. I drove right to Nashua, New Hampshire, tax-free up there. And I bought a ton of equipment. I had no idea how to use any of it. The guy at Guitar Center walked me through everything. And I told you guys, I was like, yeah, no, I'm super experienced in all this stuff. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Lies.
I had no fucking clue.
Lies.
Hey,
Whit,
buddy.
any accidental little pecks on the cheek or something sharing the mic with RA? Like, how close did you come from?
I did a job of respecting one space. When I was talking, he leaned back a little bit. When he was talking, I jumped back. For sure. I just remember being like, "Oh my God!" I think I really do love doing this. If I was willing to just share a mic with the Rear Admiral for an hour and 20 minutes, right then. But
you know what? I have a little. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Whit. Sorry, buddy.
No, go ahead, buddy.
I have a little tidbit. Hopefully, you can hear it. Hear it here on the. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the RA and Whitney podcast. Can you hear it? A little bit of a struggle to get going here, technology.
Yes, it has been. We're not exactly wizards with technology.
Exactly. By the way, that's the co-host, Brian Whitney. Yeah, Brian Whitney here, former Boston University. Are you good?
I wouldn't say sorry, maybe. I appreciate that. Yeah.
All right. I think.
That's enough.
No, dude, it's crazy, dude. It's to listen to that, how just like different it was, and just me and you like just shooting the shit for like I think I had like a post-it note with like 4 bullet points on it. We would talk.
Did you guys have a guest your first pod, or was it?
We didn't have guests for a while. Where we kind of thought maybe G or Arnett, RA and I were like. I remember I was so against guests because I hate asking people to do stuff. Like, you're asking for a favor, you feel bad, and it turns out there are a lot of guys who want to do it. I still feel bad at times. But I guess going last, like, first off, I want to say thank you so much to everyone. We're just going through some stuff right now. The name Callan actually means brave, noble in battle. So we're dealing with some stuff. We got some good news the other day, and then a little different news today. But I'm here. I would never miss this episode, and I cannot. It's amazing the timing of all this, because you fans and you guys listening, and specifically Vancouver Canucks fans.
Yeah, you guys have been awesome.
Classiest. I take everything back. Like, the amount of messages I got, like, we love the shit talk, but we're thinking of you and your family. I cannot thank you enough. I can never say a bad word about your fan base again. I'm still rooting for the team I'm wearing, the Oilers, on the hat and the sweatshirt, but just an amazing response from everyone. I cannot thank you enough for talking so nicely to me when I just mentioned that we were kind of going through some things with our family right now. So I'm knock on wood, we're going to keep crushing it. But it all goes back to this community we've created. And like, I'm so amazed at what this has turned into. Never in my wildest dreams would I imagine it. I think I said back in the day, we'll go to Vegas and do our 500th episode, because I said we'll never make it to 500. So it turns out, as I said that when we started, I wasn't married, no kids, and now we just had our third. It's just like wild to think of all these years, all these episodes, and none of it happens without all you people watching and listening right now. It's the most fun group of people, as we've as we've brought up before, we have meet and greets, we have street hockey tournaments, we have all these different events. There's never once been a fight besides a guy getting kicked out of the bar for like assaulting Biz and Pasha loving him and the guy loving Pasha. That was our only kind of goon we've ever dealt with. I love you, Pasha, as he's getting chokeholded out. But it's the best community ever. I'm so grateful for what we've built. I'm so grateful for you guys and your support the other day when I called you guys, let you know what was going on. And it's difficult not to get a little emotional talking about this. You dream of finding peace after your career, and you dream of finding another thing to work towards and want to be good at. And we've been so lucky, Biz and I, to find it. RA and G, you found it. You guys crush it. And I just want to say thank you once again to everyone for support, not only in my personal life right now, but as a team, our Spittin Chiclets squad. It's the best group. So thank you so much.
Here.
Yeah,
Well said, Witty Dog. And obviously
Beautiful.
It's great to have you back, buddy. And just to reiterate what you said, buddy, that the fans have been incredible to us, and we owe you guys everything. We love you guys, and we got some special treats for you today after we talk about these crazy playoffs.
And before we do that, this is another thing that's pretty wild. I'm doing an ad read quickly for a vodka that has my name on it. Who would have thought that? But Pink Whitney, guys, this show is presented by Pink Whitney, New Amsterdam's own flavored vodka. So go on out, grab one of those big bottles. That's the ones I had delivered to the house. I enjoy those. They last longer. Also, the nips for the golf course. It's the nice time of year. It's playoff hockey. Rangers fans, you guys are nervous. All fan bases are nervous, besides maybe the Dallas Stars right now. So, maybe Glassbangers celebrating with little Pink Whitney. But go down to your local liquor store, grab some, order some at your bar, your favorite watering hole that you'd like to have a drink at. And thank you again for all your support. New Amsterdam's own Pink Whitney. Take your shot. The #1 flavored vodka in North America. So that's what this show is presented by. That is absolutely wild to have your 500th episode and talk about the vodka we have. What a joke this whole entire life is. Biz, would you look at us? What's that show?
Look at us now.
Look at us now.
Look at us.
All right.
Look at us. And
Holy
just to
shit.
piggyback that, shout out to the whole Gallo crew, like sales team and everybody at Gallo and Pink Whitney in New Amsterdam. Without them, man, like we wouldn't be able to do what we do, travel around and do all these sandbaggers and amazing things in order to provide you guys more entertainment. So that's part of it. So shout out to Pink Whitney, New Amsterdam, and the whole Gallo sales team and everybody involved. We love you guys. That's the OG bottle.
It's the first bottle.
Yeah, that's crazy.
From the taste test.
They went clear. And then they fixed that. If it was in the sun a little bit too long, they'd go clear. And I don't know if quickly before we get into the hockey, I know this is kind of a reminiscing show a little bit. 500. If people don't know, we went and did the taste test, and they had about 8 bottles. And my wife came, me, Biz, G was there, and then they're, what do you think of this one? I like that one. What do you think of this? I hate that one. What do you think of this one? That's pretty good. Put it over with the one I liked originally. Get to all 8. Got rid of 5. Love 3. Going through the 3 that I like, back and forth. I don't know. Then at the end, I'm like, this is the one. They're like, well, it was all the same, you dumb fucking big-eared bastard. So pretty funny that they got me on that. But it's crazy you still have those. Jeez.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if you want to drink those, dude.
We
those
thought they were going to
real
be
banged up.
like a pre-mixed cocktail too, and then they come out with the 30% alcohol, and I'm like, oh, this is a little stiff. I don't know if I could do this, but the college kids love it, and they love getting banged up. And take your shot, baby. It ended up working out perfectly.
I always needed a little liquid courage to go talk to a young lady. So now knowing that there's maybe some youngsters out there that have a girl in mind, that they just do a couple rips of Pink Whitney and then they go, and who knows, maybe they seal the deal, they end up marrying them, and they could be thanking Pink Whitney for that little courage that it was given to them.
Biz, you mentioned you thought it was a canned beverage, like a mixed drink, and that's what I thought too. So it was 10 a.m. on like a Tuesday, and MB came up to my desk and she's like, "Hey, we're doing a taste test for the new vodka that you guys are creating, for the new drink that you guys are creating. Come in this office and try it." And I'm like, "Oh, awesome! This is great." So I sit down at the desk. There's a bunch of execs in there, like CEO, all these big people. Erica's in there, and they have 3 pink glasses in front of all of us. So I take the first glass and I'm like, "Oh, I'll try this thing." Throw it back. Go. Right away, the guy's like, no, it's vodka. I'm like, I'm like, oh, fuck. And I almost threw up. And then, but that's how we, it's one of the crazy things too, is there was 2 vodkas that everyone in the boardroom was going back and forth on. I don't think I ever told this. Nick Mulcahy was an intern at the time, and they looked at Nick and they're like, which one do you like? And he was
that's the guy we're going for. What do you
vodka
want?
1. They go vodka 1, and they're like, all right, we're picking vodka 1, and that was Pink Whitney.
Shout out to Nick. Fucking right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
Hey, one other thing, boys, the logo. Elliot's gonna flash the original logo. I can't draw for shit, but look at that was the original. No, it was the original design right there. I mean, that's
all right. I've always said the name without the name. I don't think this is that big of a show. It just rolls off the tongue, shooting the shit, getting your teeth knocked out, all comes into one. You had the idea of the face, the skull, missing the tooth. So your drawing's horrible, but your idea was incredible. Without that, we're not sitting here right now.
All right, take us through the creative process. Like, when did you think of it?
Light up a big song and then sit there.
Oh God!
How fucked up were you when you thought of it, and then did you right away just start drawing?
No, well, Spittin Chiclets obviously was a phrase well before. I would never ever try to even think of taking credit for that. It just, when I thought of it, because you try to avoid generic hockey terms like 5-minute fucking power play or whatever these.
Like the R.A. and Wit show.
Yeah, exactly. Hello, everybody. That was the worst. Hello, that was the worst. Hello, ever biz. But when it hit my head, I was like, oh my God, because spitting in the last 30 years means something different than it did 40 years ago. It didn't mean spitting on the ground. It's like talking, whatever. And then I was like, oh, Spittin Chiclets. You know what? That kind of works. And then I was like, I saw the logo. I'm like, put the tooth out because we're Boston guys, and not that me and Whitney are the toughest guys around at all. So like, took the colors obviously in Boston. I put the tooth out, a little bit of a smile, and I sent it to an artist buddy, and he gussied it up, and I was like, holy shit, that's it right there. And I'm not.
I love how you picked the CCM bucket too. It just looks so much better with the old school CCM bucket.
I think Mr. Number 8 from the Black Goal was my inspiration there. Cam Neely back in the day. Yeah. So a little bit of that. Speaking of Cam Neely and the Boston Bruins, Charlie McAvoy had the perfect time to have his best game of the series. Game-winning goal, added an assist. How about this, Biz? 15 games played when the Bruins have faced an elimination. McAvoy has a goal and 9 assists with 39 hits, 26 blocks. Obviously turns it up when shit's on the line, but we're going to talk about Swayman as well. That save on Bennett with 9 seconds left. This is a totally different team than we saw the 2 previous games. I don't know what they're doing different. Biz, what are they doing different?
I just thought they came out a lot stronger. I felt through the first 2 periods. I mean, some people might say it wasn't Florida's best game, but finally Boston came out strong and took it to them. And you mentioned it, man. They had to have a few big games by their guys on the back end. I felt like their back end had been struggling to make plays, specifically McAvoy. Maybe sometimes when you're trying to do a little bit too much, your game can struggle. Maybe like going out of your way to make a big hit, and trying to force plays. I just felt that everything kind of came to him last game. I mean, he had the assist early on, and then that snipe when he joined in the rush, I want to say he came off the bench fresh off that play, and people might argue about the goaltender interference. I personally thought it was goaltender interference, but they are saying he had time to reset. But I don't even think it mattered if he was reset. Like the first game where the Bruins played there and Jans came on, it felt like they were shooting BBs, right? Like he picked that top corner. And if you have time and space and you're able to pick those top corners clean against Bob, that's where you can beat him. So a huge game from him. And I don't know if we can roll it, but if even just a shot, you're seeing here right now, see how Bob's blocker's up? Now, I could agree with Boston fans on the fact that after the battle,
hate your guts, dude.
I don't give a flying
I don't
fuck. Thanks, RA. You're the ringleader, so that maybe means a lot. And
you
pass
really
it down
think
to
they're
them.
the whiniest group?
Sometimes online they can be extremely, extremely whiny. Like for instance, just admitting the fact that the games before shouldn't have been a goal, nor should have this one. And I felt like they did a good job of making up for the last game where, buddy, go back to the Tampa, Florida series. There was 2 goals that were taken back from Tampa that were just exactly like that. Do you remember those, RA?
Yeah, Joe Cirelli. That was
I think Cirelli was one of them, and then Duclair was the other. But whatever. At the end of the day, it was a huge game for the Bees. When Florida turned it up in the third, they were on the ropes a little bit. But Swayman, he's been huge all playoffs long. They did the right call and just riding him the whole way, where right now, in my opinion, he's been the best goalie all of playoffs. And if he keeps playing like this, boys, don't count these Bees out. They're going back home. They got that home crowd. I don't think Florida shook at all. I think that you're going to see a different Florida team. And I think the other storyline from this game I can throw it over to you, Whit, is the coaches. A lot of animation, very vocal in the media, very vocal on the bench from Monty, basically accusing Florida of diving a lot, which we're talking about probably one of the toughest teams in the league. And I don't know if you guys saw the ladies' reaction behind the bench being like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Because he was just kind of kept going like this and like, and kept making gestures like that. And then over to the other bench where I don't think we've seen a snap show from Paul Maurice like this since last year in Toronto when he'd had enough. And then all of a sudden they went on that crazy run. So from that moment in that game when Paul Maurice went crazy, and we're going to roll his audio after the game when he was a little bit more calm, their team will ramp it up. And he doesn't pull this card out very often. So let's roll the clip and then we'll get to Whit's opinion of it all after.
Just thought they needed some profanity in their life. I brought some. I don't excel a lot of things in life, but fuck me, am I good at that. You see how I did that? Okay.
Cancel him.
I thought that was excellent. Later in the press conference, he goes into kind of setting up Game 6 too. He's talking about all the cameras, watching Marchand. Is he going to play? The drama. What's going to... Go ahead.
Right, it's going to be an absolute barn burner in there. There'll be 18,000 cameras on the morning skate just to see if when he sips of the water bottle Brad Marchand takes. It's going to be some high-end investigative journalism. You guys go home and get a nap? Because you got some shit to do in a couple days.
He hates the media.
No, I don't. I don't think he hates the media.
I think the Boston media, he does not like them.
I think he's
I think that he's amazing at holding court. He has a skill of being able to just sit there and almost like talk about games as if they're stories and how he tells the story of the game. He's just very articulate in how he goes about giving press conferences. And I think he does have respect for the media in that they all have a job, and the easier he makes it on them, the easier it is for them to do their job. So I think he enjoys getting up there and being the jester, and jester's not the right word, just holding court and being that guy. And he's good at it. He's been around this league for so long. That guy was coaching at a young age. So I was shocked the Bruins got a win. I mean, watching this team versus the Florida Panthers, it's like varsity versus JV. I mean, you look at the names on the power play for Florida, and then you look at the names for the power play of the Bruins. You're like, how is this going to 6? And it's Jeremy Swayman. And RA, I like what you brought up about McAvoy. I think he's a top 5 defenseman in the NHL. I think if he had a little better offensive touch, he could be top 3. I think he's an incredible player, worth every penny, a true star in the league. He's had a tough playoff. I don't really know. My guess would be that, and just thinking back to when I played, Biz, let me know if you agree or disagree. You have a couple tough games, you start pressing a little bit. And any single time you start struggling a little bit and you start pressing, it's like everything you touch turns to shit. And I'm not saying he's made all bad plays. There's been moments of him playing real solid hockey. But as a whole, for how good he is, I think Bruins fans are kind of like, what's going on? The same way they were talking about Lindholm, who's really picked up his game since Game 7 against Toronto and in this series. McAvoy, you're just left wondering, where's the Charlie McAvoy we've seen the last 4 or 5 years? It seemed like last night he simplified things. And when you're struggling and you're pressing and everything you touch is going wrong and you can't get a bounce because you're trying so friggin' hard, you just need to end up take a step back, simplify. I think I talked about this last week in one of the episodes, and he did last night. I think the hit in Game 5 probably helped get him going. What a hit that was. Bullshit penalty call. I know I wasn't a part of the show after that. That's a perfectly timed body check. But then that all right, now I'm going. And then with the puck last night, easier decisions, not forcing things. All right, if I make a couple simple plays, then I have a dish up the middle. He gets that assist. Beautiful goal. I couldn't agree more that goal should have counted. I actually think Bennett should have counted, though. I know I wasn't on the show.
Really? Okay, interesting.
I thought that cross check was not enough. I think I agreed with the league. I was very surprised to see. No, I wasn't surprised. Understandably, the way it looked, there was actually a goal that was tweeted of Pat Maroon scoring a goal earlier this year for the Wild. It was like the exact same thing that got called back, where it was a softer push that went into the goalie. I just thought that the puck was on Bennett's stick before Coyle even hit Swayman. Like that was going to be a goal. Either way, I think they got it right, both of them counting. So, Biz, while you say they both shouldn't have counted and it evens up, I think they both count, and it's even either way. There's no complaints.
That's what I'm saying.
So
it all evens out in the wash. Now, if I could compare the pressing analogy, it would kind of be like going to the casino with you and Merles, where you lose a couple big blackjack hands, and it's like, hey, wait, let's just step away. Let's go hit up the buffet. And you're like, fuck you, Biz. Here's my ATM card. Go take out more cash, and we're chasing our bets. That is kind of how I felt about McAvoy, at least the first start of playoffs until last game, where he looked incredible. So back over to you.
Okay. The Bruins doing that without Marchand, like I said, shocked that they were able to get that win. But you saw Maurice on the bench. Florida was shit early. And I think after those 2 games, granted, it was a come from behind win in game 4 after dominating game 3. They thought it was going to be easy. I think that we're back home, and we've seen this pattern of teams going home up 3-1 and they're not able to close it out. The Bruins against Toronto, Vancouver, it happened. Vancouver against Nashville, it happened last night. It happened to the Rangers the other night, where I think that teams genuinely feel like we're home. We already got 3-1 here, one more game, and teams, dude, they don't die easy. This is second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like, the hardest game to win is that 4th game. Talk about a cliche, but I've been doing that for 500 episodes, so why stop now? I think that the Bruins had a ton of guts. They showed up. Specifically, it's the Swayman show. We all know that if he doesn't stand on his head again, Florida's probably winning game 6. I think Florida is going to win game 6, but the thing about Swayman is right now, and that was a good, legitimate complaint about the goal that Bennett scored in game 4, was that Swayman has been making saves all playoffs that looked completely impossible. Yeah. So Bruins fans are like, he could have saved it. He could save anything, this guy.
Exactly.
So, but McAvoy showing up, Swayman showing up. Now, another issue, though, for the Bruins, these too many men on the ice penalties, guys.
Oh my God!
It's now.
What do they got? 6?
6. I think 6. And then last year in the first round against Florida, I think they had 5 or 4. But here's the thing: as people have maybe gone on Monty, it's usually on the players. I actually saw Merles tweet it out. It's like 95% of the time. I don't know what Merle's number used, maybe 98. It's the players, dude. I got this guy. I got this guy. You got this guy. And then all of a sudden, guys are losing their mind and hop on the bench when they're not supposed to. And so Monty's the one sitting there like, I'm catching heat for this, and I'm not even doing anything wrong. I'm calling up what line is next, and you mutants can't figure out when to go. So they got to figure that out, dude. You can't be handing out power plays to Florida. So Florida didn't have what they needed, but then they picked it up. Dude, they picked it up. Maurice gave it to him. He knows how to push those buttons, and the Bruins held on. That save at the end, it didn't look that hard on Reinhart. Dude, I know it doesn't look like this incredible Bobrovsky save against Cirelli or whoever, Dumba in the first round, but it's because he's so perfectly positioned that he just slid over, didn't panic, took away the angle, and he's got a guy with 57 goals this year or whatever who just has nothing to shoot at. So he is so clutch. Now, if the Bruins can get game 6, I've always said game 7s are straight up crapshoots. So, like, you can't go into game 7, Florida's going to win. I think it's more fair to say Florida's going to get game 6. If Boston wins, you're going to game 7 as a Panthers fan with panic in your eyes.
Your
tight ass butt cheeks, Biz.
That much. I thought that Laviolette about that a game 5 thing in order to close out up 3-1. I think he said desperation is an emotion that you can't really tell the players about. You have to feel it. And like New York at home and like Florida at home, starting for the first 40 minutes, they just didn't have it. Like, going, even if we're going to hop over this quickly, New York Rangers only had one high-end scoring chance the entire game at home to close out a playoff series, and it was the Trouba 2-on-1 shorthanded. Like, that's
but don't go there yet, because
we won't go there yet. Well, let's go back. Going back to Swayman save, though, that's an instant where the reverse VH, because the guy's behind the net where that pass is coming, that's when it makes sense, because that's how he was able to get that push and go all the way over and then be in great position. Now, some people said, I think it was Reinhart who had the shot.
Yep.
Yeah.
If he releases that maybe right away, there is a chance that goes in, but that split second he doesn't shoot it, Swayman closes up any angle that he has to put that puck in the net. And just going back to Florida, you said that they turned it up. I would say of the teams remaining in playoffs, even more so than the top dogs for Edmonton, because at least they can have a follow-up shift. they kind of are like the Avs now, especially because now there's no Nichushkin, where if they pick up steam, they can roll out a few lines back to back to back to back.
You mean Dallas? You mean Dallas, though?
Buddy, Dallas.
Colorado ain't rolling back to back shit right now.
I'm saying before they lost Nichushkin, at least especially in that first round, where they can gain that steam and they can keep that momentum going. Dallas is a little bit more methodical in how they defend, and it's not like this crazy amount of chances, where I feel like Florida is that team in the East where they can just take over a game like you saw in that third period, where they just come at you in waves because of the personnel that they can put on the ice together. Now, Montour obviously lugging a lot of those minutes on the back end, where like Fox and like Makar, the play, if it goes to him, it doesn't die. Something special is going to happen, and he has that threatening shot. So I expect Florida to go into Boston and close out, especially with the preparation that Maurice is going to have and going into that one. So I don't know if there was any.
I had one more. I had a couple other things about that game. We almost witnessed the most obvious blatant pizza in the history of hockey when Beecher threw it over to Okposo. Do you remember that? He literally passed it over to Kyle Okposo. And he somehow like whiffed on it. I think he was so shocked. He gave him a legit one-on-one in front of the goalie. It was craziest pass of all time. And he just fumble fucked it. They showed him on the bench after. He couldn't believe it. But Beecher had a couple of those plays where Swayman bails him out. That time he didn't even have to make a save, but it was crazy. And Montgomery on the bench, hilarious. I mean, those reactions. He was like a award-winning actor out there. Just and I do think, as he mentioned after, like, there is a little bit more embellishment and more diving. Lundell got one last night, and you're seeing guys, and he talked about throwing the head back. That was his reenactment on the bench, where there are guys that playoff time comes, and you're just kind of, I mean, that doesn't really look like embellishment.
That looks like he's bending him over.
Really proving my point, Fishy.
That looks like one of my Raya dates.
You know, after that Bennett goal, when Monty was. Biz, when Monty was arguing with the refs, I got a DM from a listener. He was actually screaming at them in French because the two referees are French, and Monty's from Montreal. You know, he gave the Tabernacle guys like, oh, he was calling them the worst names in the book. And I think I meant to send it to the group. He said, so when you said silent like steel in the post-game presser, he had already said his piece in French to all the referees. Just, I thought it was a pretty cool tidbit. Obviously, there's a Tabernacle in there.
That's awesome.
Also, too, as far as McAvoy, amazingly, he didn't have one shot on goal in the first 4 games.
I couldn't believe that.
I couldn't believe it either. I didn't realize that none of the first 4, but obviously 6 last night. And as far as the too many men on the ice, I sent the tweet out. I said, they love this fucking penalty. And people thought it meant the referees. Like, it's like, well, it's not the same refs all playoffs for 6 games. I'm like, talking about the Bruins fucking having it.
Well, I know, but it was a vague tweet.
Yeah, but you can't. Your tweets are so vague.
Let me. I'm not done. Let me finish. I'm an old fuck. 1979 Boston history. Too many men on the ice it's part of the Boston ugly law. So it ties into that. That's why it's like not just this playoffs. It's kind of an old reference. And I know, young hoppers don't know shit about things that didn't happen. That happened before they were born. So that was that. Reinhart, the only goal for Florida. He has 4 goals in potential clinching games. He's got 4 goals, 1 assist in 8 games. He has matched the total that his father had during his whole NHL career in 15 potential clinching games. I thought it was
and
cool
Biz,
stat,
like about people saying if Reinhart one-time that, it's hard to second guess a guy that's that much of a sniper. Like, I think he's thinking I changed the angle briefly.
Fuck you! I want to be a Monday quarterback. He should have shot it right away.
I know.
Fuck,
you love
the
doing
fuck's
that
he know
shit.
about goal
When we get to the Oilers series, I know a lot about your Monday quarterback.
Pull up my San Jose goal knee drop. One of my 7.
Also,
that's how we should have released it. Sidney Crosby, baby.
Thanks to my buddy Ty Anderson with that McAvoy note. Also, but we got to talk about that whistle blowing when fucking Bob made that save. It didn't hit his mask and it hit him in the shoulder. They blew the whistle.
So that's another argument.
Weird.
I think we can close out on this. And Coop made the comment. I think it was in one of his post-game press conferences. He's been adamant about this, where sometimes they're calling the goaltender interference too light. Whether he's saying the goalies need to be able to fight through some of this
prison
stuff.
rules. He said,
and in that. Yeah, and in that case, that was horrible. And even on the one where there was goalie interference, where Oliver Ekman-Larsson kind of touched his stick, and you see him just drop it and right away kind of throw up his hands. That might have played a factor against him, but nonetheless, that one was total BS. And Whit, I don't think we ever got your thoughts on the Marchand Bennett face pop on the reverse hit. Did you think he should have got suspended a game after seeing the reverse angle?
100%. And him going on TNT after and sitting there and blatantly just lying and looking like he truly
My cousin
believed his
Benny.
own lie. And if there was no other prior evidence of that about the Knies last year, I might have been like, all right, yeah, I guess it was just unfortunate timing. Buddy, we saw the exact play last year, and then he's sitting there with his beard. Army's line about saying that it's like when you bring a serial killer in to find another serial killer, how he found it is so fucking hilarious. I was losing it at that. But Bennett's just sitting there with his beard. Yeah, just hockey player. I was just trying to protect myself. I'm like, this dude's a sick puppy. He really believes this, I think. But having said, Sam Bennett, rat, dirtbag, I would do anything to have him on the Edmonton Oilers. That guy is built to play in the playoffs. And once again, a reminder of Sam Bennett. He couldn't do one pull-up at the draft combine, and he got tortured for it. And who gives a flying fuck when you play like that?
You think that's what sparked him to be a serial killer?
I think I'm guessing when you're that sick in the head and you're that dirty and will do anything to win, you've been like that since you came out of the womb. So
I don't know, man. Sometimes it's a pivotal moment, and when he didn't do any chin-ups and all the criticism, maybe something went cuckoo in his head, and all of a sudden it's been cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs ever since.
Turned him into Sam the Butcher.
To find out if you think a guy did something on purpose or if something should have been a penalty is right when it happens. Watch the reaction. Watch the reaction, because Leon got away with a ridiculous interference on Joshua in the corner last night. He just buried him. Puck wasn't even near him, and right away he's going like this. When players do that, they know they did something wrong. And Bennett knew what he did, and he sat there after, and I was laughing watching your interview because he's just like,
did you see me dying laughing? Because after that, then Liam had to ask him about the goalie interference, and I basically have my face in my shirt. And then after, he answered it good. The first one about the pop on Marchand, he was stuttering and a little bit like choppy with his answer. But by the end of it, he was pretty clear and concise, and I couldn't help but be like, bro, you should be a fucking lawyer, man. That was unreal self-defense right there. But hey, Ace said it to him. I commend the fact that he didn't dodge the media, and he came on right afterward and he answered the bell. So I'm sure Boston fans don't give a fuck. But at the end of the day, agreed with Maurice on teeing this up. If Marchand's back game 6, this could be a revenge game, and this is building up for incredible drama.
That's another take I have.
To go to 7 now. I want this to go to 7.
Oh, me too. We could get 3 7-game series. I think Dallas is.
We deserve it after the first round too.
But I think as Marchand's changed in the last 3-4 seasons, I feel like, and getting rid of the bullshit and just playing more, and he became the captain. I think he will take a ridiculous suspension on Bennett before his career's done. I don't think next year, I don't think it's going to happen game 6 if he plays. You think that Marchand's going to allow that to go on?
Is he going to go PK slew ban?
A cross check to the face. Brad Marchand is going to get him back. I would almost guarantee you that.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre style. Hopefully he's back next game. It'll be a lot more interesting if he is, but we do have a word from our sponsor right now. All right, everybody, before we move along, here's a few words from our good friends over at Game Time. You know me, always perusing the Game Time app. Might want to see a cheap baseball game down the street, but you know it's a good idea? Fly into another city, go on Game Time, boom, get hooked up with some playoff tickets. You know why? Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports, you do not have to worry at all for your next big event because Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, concerts, theater events near you. They got flash deals for sudden discounts. Those are a doozy. Zone deals when you're feeling a little flexible. And the lowest price guarantee means that if you find the same seats for less or anywhere else, Game Time credits you 110% of the difference. Unreal. Game Time is the best place for last-minute seats with up to 60% off your favorite events. Just a little tip for you. Wait till the last couple of days before you might get a little something cheaper in there, too. What are you waiting for? I'm going to buy those Stones tickets for the 10th time because I might see them 10 times that night. Get them now. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Chiclets for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download the Game Time app. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Well, boys, crazy drama in Edmonton last night. Evan Bouchard bailed the boys out. Looks like we're going to go to overtime. Edmonton trying to avoid a 1-3 hole. 39 seconds left. Boom. It was the fourth game-winning goal in Oilers playoff history in the final minute of regulation. And how about this? Bouchard, third fastest defenseman to reach 40 career playoff points behind Brian Leetch and Bob Ure. That's some pretty good company right there. But to me, Biz, the big story, I'll actually wait. You're the Oilers guy. The big story, Calvin Pickard, or Pickard, I think they call him. Absolutely terrific. First ever playoff start. Stopped 19 of 21 shots. Bunch of big ones. 32-year-old journeyman. I love these stories. What's your take on the Oilers last night, buddy?
What an emotional game that was. Oh my God. I was sitting there and I'm just like, I can't believe this is happening. And it was all about that power play they had in the third with a bunch of chances to go up 3-0. I knew it. I was like, they got to score here. They got to score here. They had all these chances. Seeloff's just playing out of his mind, making these ridiculous saves. Sure as shit, they make it 2-1. I'm like, they're going to tie this thing up 2-2. I wanted to puke. And then Evander Kane, what a forecheck, just runs over Hronek. We'll get into that, but Calvin Pickard, what a story. I was so happy for him, and the most gut-wrenching part of at least the American broadcast was when they tied it up. After the goal was scored, they showed his mom and dad watching live as it happened, and like the goal went in, his dad's like, oh, and his wife put, Calvin's mom, she put her head on his shoulder. They were just like, oh my God, our son, he's grinded his entire career. He gets a playoff start. He was going to get a win. Now we're going to overtime, and it didn't end up that way. And it's an incredible story because first off, I really agreed with you. They had to go to him. They had to go to him. I didn't even care if it was Campbell. Like Stuart Skinner right now has the yips. I don't know what to say. And I know in all my discussion about the depth and how much better Skinner's been this year, I look like a fool. Like they got no depth. Fogel, 20-goal guy. I don't know where he is. Skinner is just, I don't know if it's being a hometown kid, being from Edmonton, but like something happens in the playoffs where I don't know if it's nerves. I don't know if it's technique. I don't really understand, but he doesn't have it. They had to make a change, and they go to Pickard. And this kid's story is incredible. I mean, it was like 7 years ago. He started like 45, 50 games for the Avalanche. They were horrible that year. Horrible, but he's getting into his groove. He's becoming a starting goalie. And then that same spring, he wins the starting job for Team Canada at the World Championships, makes 41 saves in the gold medal game against Henrik Lundqvist, the King, gives up 1 goal. They lose, but almost outduels Lundqvist. There was an article in The Athletic about this, actually. I'm sorry I don't have the writer's name. I'll get that. I was reading about it this morning because it was talking about what he's been through to get here. So then, right, I was a starter this year. Granted, the Avs were brutal. Then I went save for save with Lundqvist in the World Championships, almost won a gold medal. Vegas picks him up in the expansion draft, and he's excited, ready to go. Fleury and him are there. They pick up Subban, and they ended up waiving him. He clears waivers right before the season started in the inaugural Golden Knights year, the year I said they'd be doormats for the league and went to the Cup Finals. Yeah, I remember that one. So Toronto ends up trading for him from the minors, but he ends up being basically the backup goalie for the Marlies as they go on to win the Calder Cup. So he's not even starting in the minors. From there, he goes to Philly, Arizona, Tucson, Grand Rapids, Detroit, Bakersfield. Then this season begins the season. He's going to be in Bakersfield, right? He's down there. They got Campbell, they got Skinner, and Campbell shits the bed. They send him down. That was only supposed to be for a short amount of time. The same way Samsonov, I don't know if he went to the minors, but they put him on waivers, reset your game. Well, Pickard was so solid. He won 12 of 20 starts, and he's only making $760,000. So it's like, we got to keep him up here. He's done a great job. And all of that comes back to that he's a great dude. These teammates last night, these guys talking about how happy they were for him. Ekholm, Leon, they're all just mentioning, like, we just appreciate this guy showing up in a good mood every single day. And those are the type of guys you need around your rooms a lot of time. Guys who have been in the minors and realize how good you have it in the NHL and appreciate their lives and being in the best league in the world, whether they're starting games or whether they're backing up. That kid's showing up every day on the ice early, staying on late, and played good hockey at a .909 save percentage all season for the Oilers. And boom, let's go to him. Skinner can't make a save. Let's go to him. And he answers the bell in amazing fashion. And it was huge to get a couple saves early because as most of these games have gone, the Oilers, like, They're controlling the play. I mean, Game 3 was ridiculous with how much they outshot them, and you're getting goalied on the other side by the other third-string goalie. It's third-string goalie on third-string goalie right now to start the season, and Shilovs is just playing out of his mind. And the Oilers, we finally got an answer. We finally had somebody where Pasha and I were texting. If the Oilers right now in this series had like an 870 save percentage, they might have swept them. It's been not being able to get any key saves at any key moments, and Pickard did that, and now we got a series. And all I needed to hear was the Monday episode I couldn't be a part of when Biz said, yeah, Edmonton's done. They can't come back and win this series. I said, thank God. Thank God he just said that.
Well, listen, so not only changing goalies, also breaking up CC and Nurse. They finally broke that pairing up, buddy. They were getting throttled.
Oh,
right? They were getting throttled.
And CC still, dude, last night was bad.
The 2-on-1 specialist?
He is struggling. Dude, last night, high stick by Vancouver. No, high stick by the Oilers. And Vancouver's coming at him at his defensive blue line. Just touch the puck. He didn't want to touch it to get a whistle. He lets the Vancouver guy touch it and almost get around him. Oh my God, I feel bad carving a guy. And I said before the deadline, because of how much CC means to the guys in that room, yeah, if you could get a big upgrade, if you get Walker from Philly, yeah. But if it's going to be someone pretty close to CC's game, why mess up with what's been going on with this Magic? He's been bad, dude. Bad.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you about that. And you mentioned Fogle. What's up with Fogle, McLeod? Where is their secondary scoring? Where is this somewhat of a decent balanced attack? Because right now it's a one-trick pony. And listen, going back to the goalie situation too, is Skinner was obviously not playing well, and sometimes there's an element to putting a new guy in to also spark the team. Because Edmonton, as much as sometimes they've been dominating, usually it is the top end guys, and they can't get that follow-up shift from the other guys. What the fuck is going on with this bottom six? And then why don't they put in Carrick? What's up?
I don't know why Carrick isn't in. And Henrique, dude, while he hasn't done a ton offensively, he's a really solid a tough
player.
Loss, dude. That is a tough loss. And I think right now the bottom six, for sure, they're squeezing the stick. But, dude, McLeod has jets, but is he a playoff type player? Especially against Vancouver, dude. This team, they are bullies. And these big D, he can't get to the inside. And Fogle, I don't know, man. Fogle, at least he's physical and he's bigger and he gets in the mix, but he's making the worst decisions with the puck. So then offensively, you're losing confidence because you can't even make plays in your own zone. The Oilers' board battles are brutal, dude. Besides the top guys, they're in one-on-one battles on the boards every time Vancouver's coming out with it. But having said all that, Edmonton, they're not playing bad. They could be up 3-1 in this series. They really could. And you're going to, if you want a chance to move on and you want even a remote chance of beating Dallas, it's got to change. But I don't know right now if McLeod has the game to get inside these D-men and score goals in dirty areas. I needed Knobloch to break up Leon and Connor. And I didn't hate game 2, how they did that, because that seems like a must win. I know that phrase is overused, but it's we can't go back down 2-0, put them together. Leon's not feeling that great possibly, and they took over the game. Fine. Next game, go back to separating them. You're not doing anything in the long run of this season with those two guys playing together, especially when you're getting nothing from the bottom six. If you're getting goals from the bottom six, okay, we can do that. But when they don't play together, also, you can throw out Leon and Connor occasionally with the fourth line and just do random mismatch. I think Merles brought that up in terms of just throw him out there, especially at home. But, dude, you separate them. And what am I saying about Leon? Connor's the greatest in the world. Leon might be the greatest playoff player on the planet. I know Grinelli said McKinnon takes over games more. You're watching Draisaitl right now. He is not only super skilled, strong as an ox, skates like the wind, and has vision, but he's a prick. He is a cocky motherfucker.
Him and Lindholm were going at it. You see,
he gave a stick tap to Lindholm's shin pad, skating to the bench for a celebration. That drives people nuts. It was like what Trocheck did to Aho on that Lafreniere goal. That's when you want to kill someone.
Lindholm goes, "I'm gonna get you," and then they pan to Leon, and he was what they draw. He's like, "Oh yeah."
He goes, "Oh!" I did that to a bouncer one time. My buddy reminded me. We were in New York City. The guy's like, the table you want to get's $3,000. I was like, oh, it was the same reaction. It was the same exact thing. My buddy goes, he just did the wit to the bouncer move. So Leon is just taking over games. But yeah, you got to separate them. And Nuge needed a goal.
Huge goal.
Nuge needed a goal. What you have to do now, okay? Because Fogle, McLeod, and what a shot this was, dude.
Yeah.
Posting in.
Off McDavid. That's a bold move.
I know, but I kind of like it. Like, I gotta fucking score a goal. And how about the reaction of the assistant coach drawing a blank?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
They were going crazy on the bench. Leon was too.
And 30 seconds left, dude, in the period. That's a big time goal. Like,
Huge
holy
goal.
shit, this is a different ball game. Even though I knew they needed to get to 3. But McLeod, Fogle, and Perry, Perry's going to be 40 years old soon. He's giving it his all. It's kind of like Pavelski, where you're like, I don't know how much left in the tank.
I don't care as long as he's putting his stick in front of Besser's face. I don't care if he can't. I don't care if he's in a wheelchair out there.
Look at that. That is so ridiculous. Perry didn't. I was laughing. And I wish you could see Besser's face. And by the way, behind that, Kane is like flipping JT Miller's helmet over his head and like punching him when the ref isn't looking. But Perry, McLeod, and Fogle right now, get Brown up with McLeod and Fogle. Put Perry down with Janmark and Derek Ryan. And then at least Brown has more speed with Fogle and McLeod. So maybe that could be an adjustment. I don't know why Carrick isn't playing. Especially against a physical Vancouver team, doesn't make much sense. But I want to say this, because I said to the Vancouver Canucks fans at the beginning, it's really hard to dislike you guys now. Like, I'm being dead serious. Your team is a lot better than I thought. I totally overstepped in thinking how easy this series would be. I do think that Knobloch was getting out coached. Last game, Knobloch had a great game. He had a great game. The way he was throwing out lines, he separated them again. He changed Nurse and CC. All of a sudden, Nurse and Desharnais, that looked real nice. Was it Nurse and
Simple. It's like the McAvoy conversation. It's like Nurse sometimes he tries to play up to his salary, where it's like, just make the simple play. That's all we need from you. Don't worry about that. Less is more from Nurse. And the more the game will come to him, the more efficient and effective he'll be, in my opinion. So we've spent quite a bit of time on Edmonton. I think we can shift over to the Vancouver.
One more thing, Biz, because I wanted your opinion on it. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
You watched him play. Why is Stetcher not getting in for CC? I like Stetcher's game. Yeah,
dude. I like that. He was in Arizona.
Try something.
Yeah, I would say that would be. Sometimes you don't want to rattle the back end, and given that the guys really like him and he's been their guy all season. But at this point, buddy, it's just like it comes down to your play. And I would agree. Next game, I would throw in Carrick and I would throw in Stetcher. And people say, well, why would you change the winning lineup? It's like you can't think like that in this instance.
There's no momentum in these series, dude. Momentum doesn't exist game to game.
And there's going to be an added boost for Vancouver getting Soucy back. So let's go to that play. Yep. Do you think it warranted a 1-game suspension? Connor, it seemed like Soucy kind of pushed him away, and that rattled Connor. Connor came in with the tomahawk on his leg, and then that's when Soucy followed up with the tomahawk. Zadorov pushed from behind, and then sweet chin music to Connor's face. Do you think that warranted a 1-game suspension?
Okay, I have a sweatshirt and a hat on that says Oilers. I do. I understand the argument that it doesn't. Here's the thing. The Canucks fans really brought up the two-hander by McDavid. He two-handed him, but if you watch, and people won't agree, at the end he let up a little bit. Like it wasn't full base. Do you know what I'm saying, Biz?
He did.
It was full baseball.
He knew what he was doing, and then he was like,
yes. He kind of stopped, and it's in padded area, dude. No doubt, penalty in the game. And yes, Soucy, his cross-check was going to be right here. It would not have hit him in the chin had Zadorov not come in. But you're responsible for your stick. And when it catches a guy right there. Now, Zadorov's point, amazing quote. This guy's a quote machine.
Quote machine.
I see why Canucks fans love him. Not just his play,
but
him saying you got to protect your investment. That's hilarious. Play it.
Yeah, it is a big part of our team. Obviously, it's a big loss for us. My thought on that, I mean, I've been thinking for a couple of days. I mean, unfortunately, that's the world we're living in. Sometimes, social media and the public.
That's you he's talking about.
Can
I haven't been
create
tweeting.
some hard decisions for specific people, and they might make questionable decisions at the end of the day. That's how I look at it. At the end of the day, they have to protect their investment. So that's my understanding.
Pay them
for sure.
Pay that man.
He's getting paid. He's getting paid.
Episode
Now,
419, if you want to hear more.
Hey, here's the thing. Here's his point. If that's anyone but Connor or Leon, I don't think it's a suspension.
Agreed.
And so maybe I'm totally speaking against myself there, and like that means it shouldn't be, but that's just every league, dude. You get a superstar, and they look at it like we can't allow that to happen. But yes, he didn't mean to get him in the face. He ends up getting him. It's pretty bad. I understood it. I wouldn't have been shocked if it wasn't, though. I'll say that.
Yeah,
now,
I had no problem with
the refereeing in the series, complaining on both sides. I think I could say fairly, like, both teams have gotten fucked. I bet you both fan bases think that they're getting screwed more than the other. I think there's been a bunch of missed calls on both sides. Last night I mentioned the blatant interference where Leon just crushed Joshua in the corner with no puck. They didn't call it. But then Lindholm dragged down McDavid in the second period, like grabbed his arm and dragged him down as he was getting to a loose puck. There's missed calls on both sides. So I understand the refereeing is going to be a huge discussion, but I don't think it's as been as one-sided as either fan base believes.
Okay, I don't think we need to go too crazy on Vancouver, but the things that stand out, that third line for them still is their probably their most reliable line throughout the course of the entire playoffs. People might argue that JT Miller and Besser have done an excellent job, but from a catalyst standpoint and chewing up their matchups, the Garland, Lindholm, and Joshua line have been absolutely incredible. They're working their bag off every night, and then obviously against the Oilers, who haven't gotten that bottom six production, they're getting eaten alive. Some pretty strong quotes from Talk after the game. 5 or 6 guys still passengers. He's like, I don't think these guys are aware that we're in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Here's the quote here. We can roll it. He's calling out a few guys.
We need 5 or 6 guys to get going here. I mean, it's the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's some guys I don't know if they thought it was the playoffs. So we can't play with 12 guys. So we got to figure it out quick. It's 2-2. Obviously, it's a tough one. Edmonton came to play. They wanted it more early. The second goal at the end of the period was a killer. Another couple of given mistakes, and then the last goal. So, I mean, it's just can't do that.
So I guess let's go right to that last goal. I think JT Miller, after the game, in his comments, he took complete ownership for it. Just did a bit of a flyby, left the zone early. He could have been underneath his guy, pushed the defenseman off the line, and then all of a sudden that puck's out of the zone, and they're living to fight another day come overtime. So not the best play, but a huge, huge shot from Bouchard. And the biggest thing for me is Petey. Pettersson hasn't done fuck all this series.
Buddy, I don't even notice him. I don't even notice him.
He's not moving his feet. This guy's about to make $11 million starting next year, and he's non-existent. Like, not taking a couple games off. He's basically been non-existent for every game except for maybe one in the Nashville series that he was solid for. Like, the sign of a good player is when he's not finding the score sheet. How is he finding a way to make impact in other areas? This guy is not hitting anyone. He's not moving his feet. He's not really winning his wall battles because he's like Bambi leg out there. People think I'm trying to pick on him like Marner. And there you go. You just heard Talk say it after the game. He's like, there's no way we beat the Edmonton Oilers if we have passengers, including one of our highest paid guys. I don't know what the fuck is going on with him. I don't know if he's a mental midget at this point where he's in his own head about his lack of production and how the end of his season gone. I thought him getting the contract and relieving all that stress component would have propelled him to get back to his old self. But they have no chance of winning this series if they have him as a passenger, because he's kind of killing that line. Like, they're trying to move.
They're getting third line matchups too.
They're trying to move guys around and maybe change lines on the fly over the course of the game to try to get him going. Buddy, I'm not kidding you. with the way that those two other guys have played since they've came in, the big guys. One of them is Lindstrom, and the other one is, I keep forgetting his name.
Aman.
Healthy scratch Petey. Show that team that nobody's safe. If you're playing like that and you're a passenger, go up in the press box and have some popcorn for a game and watch.
Power play is so bad, and he actually looks decent on the power play, although their whole power play stinks.
It's more about the ripple effect in the lineup.
Would Talk ever do that, Biz? You think Talk would ever scratch him?
If you're gonna do it, now's the time, because you still have the ability to, let's say you win that game and then you shake him up, then you could reinsert him. If you lose it, you're still in the series. I don't think that anybody in Vancouver would hold it against Talk if he healthy scratch.
I think they'd lose their mind, Biz, because I think a lot of them are complaining that he doesn't have good enough line mates. I think I that's the sense I get. I know. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I hear a lot of that online. Like, he's not playing with good enough players. It's like, dude, you have to carry your own line. And here's the thing. Garland has been amazing. I think I tweeted out in the first game and go, Garland's going to be an issue. He's got a motor. Buddy, if Peterson can just look at him and say, and Garland's skilled. I'm bigger than him. I'm more skilled than him. Like, I just got to work like him. I just got to work like that. And I don't know if Pedersen's looking at it like some fans are, like, I'm playing with these two wingers. Like, I should be playing up with better players. Or if he's injured, I don't know. But yeah, I'm very confident the Oilers can win if he continues to be this unnoticeable in these games. I don't know what's
1 goal, 3 assists in 10 games. He's 15 shots on net in 10 games is brutal. He's had 2 games with no shots, 3 games with just 1 shot. So I like I said, I don't know if he's dinged up or what, but he's going to do something else, man. He's
okay. Can we say this about this series? What amazing hockey, though. Yeah. Every single game is so, like, you're on the, as a fan, it's uncomfortable watching the games. You know it's going to be close. I think Vancouver's now played 8 straight 1-goal games.
Yep.
So
bingo, yep.
I guess betting them plus 1.5 is the biggest lock of all time right now. It's probably like minus 300 at this point. But the drama and the excitement in these games and the finishes, game 1's comeback, last night's comeback, then the goal by Bouchard, and that forecheck. And Knobloch talked after that Kane was fresh. He hadn't played much at the end of the game trying to hold on to that lead. Let's get a fresh guy out. Dude, he goes, Ronek's a big guy, runs him over. Then it looked like Zadorov had full control of the puck and kind of handcuffed Besser a little bit. And I'm very glad we got the second review. I saw Hockey Night in Canada going over, because there was talk about Leon possibly high sticking the Besser flip out of the zone. It looked from the first angle that I saw that it could have been. There was another angle kind of behind the blue line. It was right at his shoulder. Fine, you're not going to call it. So it wasn't another referee. Fuck up, and fan base can lose their mind about something, but. What a dish by Leon. Just tough defensive zone coverage. I actually think that's what JT Miller was talking about when he was mad at himself, talking about his stick not being in the lane and then not blocking that shot.
Right, but I think that he's not even in that situation if he is underneath his guy. Like, so
originally,
originally, right before when they keep it in, like, he's that weak side guy. When you're slash skating across, you don't blow the zone. Obviously, Pasha was having a fucking field day in the group chat last night, thinking that what he's been saying all season long has validation because he had a couple bad shifts when not taking a great penalty against Draisaitl, and the fact that he blew the zone in that situation. Well, the guy showing great leadership took complete ownership for it after the game. He made the mistake. You got to stay beneath your guy there.
The way you guys played, because it seemed like you played pretty well in the second and third.
I mean, I'm pretty upset with myself at the moment. That was a pretty big play at the end of the game there. That pass should have never got to Bouchard, and certainly shouldn't get past me. So already can't see anything.
So there you have it. That's accountability.
And luckily
folks.
enough for the Oilers, Sealoves probably should have had 2 of those 3. Leon's hits him and squeezes through him, and then Bouchard, yes, there's a screen, but that went through his arm and his belly or his side too. So at least you're somewhat seeing, like, that guy giving up a couple goals, because throughout these games he's making saves where you're like, oh my God, he just made 3 10-ball saves in a row. And luckily he's kept Vancouver in a lot of this. But I think this is going 7. I don't care who wins next game.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a series so far, boys, but we do have another sponsor right now, so time for a word from them right now. All right, gang, before we go any further, here's a few words from our friends over at Verizon. With Verizon's fast, reliable network, you can stream playoff games on the go or at home and keep up with all the action. Right now, playoff season, whether you like pucks, whether you like hoops, whatever, Verizon has you covered, especially late night, some of the West Coast games. You might have to do a little bit of work, got to be on the internet. Boom. Verizon Internet, you cannot beat it. Plus, Verizon makes it easy to save on streaming the Stanley Cup playoffs. TV as well, of course. And for a limited time, they're offering a great deal on the Disney bundle, which includes Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. You can stream select Stanley Cup playoff games, including every game of the Stanley Cup Final on ESPN Plus. So visit Verizon.com/Barstool to learn more.
The only other thing
we almost got another cornhole, Cam.
The only other guy we didn't talk about was Quinn Hughes, who I feel has looked like maybe a little bit average this series. Some people talked about last series about maybe a shoulder injury. I just don't think he's had the same impact. Like, yeah, some shifts he's able to take over and be the water bug, but I mean, Merls keeps harping on it, right? If you want to be that number one D man, like, why isn't he out there, especially without Susie in the lineup? Why isn't he out there in the dying minute? Like,
I understand the size, having the size out front, but
he can make a play on the wall there.
Yeah, but and talk it after. A reporter said, "What'd you think about Quinn's game?" The reporter then said, "Seemed like he was a catalyst in the third." And talk goes, "Yeah, he's working hard. He was trying hard." So, knowing coaches, like that's not him thrilled with his game, because if you just say, "Yeah, he's trying hard," that's a little bit of a shot.
Yeah, so do washing machines. RA, I think that pretty much wraps up Vancouver, Edmonton, man. It's a great series so far, back and forth, and off to Vancouver, where they've been selling out Rogers Arena even when they're on the road.
That's
what an
crazy.
incredible fan base.
It's been a doozy, but G's been knocking. We have
guys, before we get to our next series, I have someone who I know we said we were going to get to the guests at the end, but this guy's just a superstar. We can't make him wait too much longer. Welcome into Spittin Chiclets 500. Will Arnett.
Hey!
Wow. There he is.
What's up, boys?
Wow. Hey, Will's like, where's memes?
Podcast?
Where's memes?
This is where I do my podcast. Yeah, this is it. Where is memes, by the way? I know where he is. He's in London, Ontario. We know. There he is.
What up?
There he is. The pride of London, my guy.
I want to make a documentary of you making this movie. That's the best line ever,
dude.
man.
One day we're gonna do an entire episode where memes takes us through the night that we all had dinner, and he pitched me the movie. It was one of the all-time great conversations of all time. But we'll save it for it. We'll do a separate episode, boys. I was on here waiting to get on, and I heard you guys talking about the playoffs, and I'm like, wait, am I wrong? I thought the hockey season ended on May 4th.
Yeah, it did.
Right, that's when
it did for you and Biz.
Right? That's when it ended, right, Biz? I mean, and I'm like, the fuck, they're still playing?
I thought the league just shut down the minute that the Leafs were eliminated from playoffs.
That's what I thought too.
More of the show and more of the views go to all the postseason press conference and all the drama. Now, instead of talking about playoffs, I guess we should hop right into that. What are your feelings on how it all ended, and where do the Leafs go from here, Will?
You know what? This is it. It'd be fun if this was like the first time I've had to think about this, but it's so depressing because I've been in this headspace so many times in my life. I'm like, oh yeah, this familiar place. What do we do? And I thought it was the goal song. It wasn't that. I will say, not a shot at, I love Toronto. I grew up there, and we love all the people there, and we do have, unreal Leaf fans. You see it when when they go on the road. Leaf fans travel better than anybody. But when I talked to you the other night, Biz, and I was at that Rangers game, and I'm in Madison Square Garden, and you see the electricity in that arena, right? You're in that rink, and you're like, man, and I'm thinking, like, we need this at Scotiabank. We need that electricity, because the player, you guys tell me, you played, I didn't. You feel that electricity, right? If you got the whole barn going mental, like it.
Yeah, so I think that the issue is a lot of people think that there's too much coke in the lower bowl in Toronto, and they're doing it in the
that should make them jumpy though.
No, in fact, it makes them turn into a shell of themselves, and they just get typewriter jaw, and they sit in their seat.
It might be. I remember you called it. I remember earlier this year when you called it the yacht club, and then we talked about it, and I said, I don't think it's the yacht club, because it's not all corporate. First of all, my suggestion is we got to do what Ballmer's doing with that new arena he's doing for the Clippers. Clippers, which is do at least one whole section low of tickets that are, priced like the upper decks, right? And maybe, yeah, like right, and have maybe one on either side of the rink, like so that you really infuse. So you got two, infuse it, or a row or two per section, like spread it out. So get some nut jobs down low who are psyched to be there, and they're going to go psycho all the time. And instead of when I watched them, they cut to a shot of either the Leafs bench or the visiting team bench, and I see people talking or on their phone or having a nice polite conversation. You shouldn't be able to have a polite conversation when you're down low. It should be
game.
In a playoff game. You should have to yell like at MSG. You should be yelling, going, "What the fuck did you say?" Like you can't. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, the level should be higher. Now, you mentioned the goal song. So you've been requesting through Shanny, because you have an ambassador role with the team, to change it to what song? And throughout the course of playoffs, did they not go with what song you'd pick?
Well, they alternated a little bit. So they've been going back and forth. But I don't think that's it turns out it's not the problem. There are a lot of problems. I heard you guys talking.
Score to get a song, Will. You got to.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's a really good point. And you're talking about the Canucks, we're talking about the Oilers, and talking about various players who don't show up. They're not showing up. Look, if you go back to those unreal series of the 90s when hockey was at its sort of 90s, early 2000s, when you didn't have the rules that you have now. A lot of rules are great. Obviously, headshots and all that stuff. We want to protect guys, and we want them to live healthy lives after they retire and, not be staring at a wall drooling. But those series, you rarely heard about guys who didn't show up. Everybody showed up. It seems to me, now maybe I have like a revisionist memory of it, but it seems to me you watch those series, and we all know the great ones like the Colorado-Detroit series, all that stuff. I mean, was there ever a guy who was out there skating? No, everybody was going nuts every shift. And now it's different. Some teams do have it, and they seem to be successful, but I don't know what it is. We live in an era where people are careful. Everybody makes a lot of dough, and they feel really comfortable. They all drive really nice cars, and they're more worried about their, the parking spot for their Lambo than showing up on the rink. The whole reason you have the Lambo is because you did the job.
Right. No, not at all. I love what you're saying. Like, that's the thing about me is like, and you're talking about those old Leafs like Wendell Clark and Doug Gilmour and the big dogs, is like, at least when they lost, you felt inspired. You felt like they'd left it all on the ice. And that's what I'm just not feeling from the Toronto Maple Leafs, where if you're gonna threaten them and potentially sit out for $11 million, you better fucking show up and put your nuts on the line if that's the case. And the fact that they got 4 guys doing it, it just can't, they can't live and exist like that anymore.
Yeah. And listen, first of all, and I'm going to be really careful. I will never call out a Leaf. I just won't do it. It's in my blood. So I don't mean anyone in particular. I love those guys. I love those kids. I think that they're all awesome. I'm old enough that even Tavares is a kid to me. And I think that those guys they're awesome. But I do think that there is, for whatever reason, something is conspiring to and I mean this across the league, because you were talking about certain guys, Pettersson on the Canucks. There's lots of teams who have guys who aren't showing up, and I think that there's maybe a bit of an epidemic league wide, right? Like there should never ever be a conversation after a playoff game like so and so is not showing up. Like, what the fuck are we even talking about? Like, that's just garbage, right?
Do you after that, I mean, heartbreaking loss for the Leafs, the fans, Shanny, do you wait to text him after Game 7? Do you text him that night? Like, how does it, because you guys are so close, it's kind of like, I gotta give him some space here.
Yeah, I usually give him about 7-10 days before we talk for real. And we just kind of, and it's just unspoken. Luckily, here's the best part. So I went over to, I was in Liverpool, because my other sport is soccer that I love, and I'm a big Liverpool supporter, and I love Jurgen Klopp, so the manager. In fact, I think I told you my all-star speech that I gave to our little team. Connor goes, hey, Will, you got to speak. I go, yeah. And I just took a bunch of quotes from Jurgen Klopp and I strung them together and they're all looking at me weird. And the final one, I go, when I first came to Dortmund, and they're all like, what? Except for Draisaitl, he loved it because he's German, eh? So I did, for real. By the way, the other side of the locker room, you hear Sid goes, hey, Will, we're getting pretty inspired over here too, buddy. But so I go over to Liverpool for his second last home game. And I know him a little bit, say hi. And so that night, May 4th is my birthday, right? So the Leafs are playing that game on my birthday, and it doesn't start till like 12:30 England, in England. So it's actually technically May 5th. Thank God, it takes the pressure off me. It's not my fault.
Yeah.
And I make the decision. I'm like, I'm super tired. I got this big game the next day I got to go to live. And I thought, I'm not gonna go nuts on the line and try to find it. And I went to bed and I thought, here was my thinking. I'm either gonna wake up super psyched, or I'm gonna wake up and I'm not gonna have to have gone through the misery. And it was one of the better decisions. I made a lot of terrible decisions. This is one of the better decisions I've ever made.
I love it.
Yeah.
Who's your all-time favorite Leaf? And have you met them all?
So my all-time favorite, I mean, there's no question. He knows it. Everybody, it's Wendell. And that weekend, did I talk to you guys after I met him for the first time?
No.
So one of the times I saw, I forget what it was, but one of the times that I saw you in the elevator, Biz, but after definitely I'd seen you, the night after I'd seen you guys on stage, I'm in the elevator. I've never met him before. There were a bunch of times I was going to meet him and it didn't happen. I was going to go to that when they played the Big House against the Red Wings years ago, all that kind of stuff, and it never happened. So I'm in the elevator with my dad and my buddy Kutch from Calgary who's hanging with me. And all of a sudden the doors open and Wendell comes in. And I'm like, what the fuck? Right. And I'm just like speechless. And he just turns and he's standing in front of me with his back to me. And then he starts talking. Chris King is in there. He starts talking to Chris King. And I'm like, oh, and I'm looking at my dad. My dad looks at me. And Wendell's wife looks at me. And then she just taps Wendell on the shoulder and he turns around. And I was like, hey. And then we hugged out. We got off.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we talked. And I mean, talk about a gamer. Like that guy, there's never a game, in the playoffs. That guy showed up he was so mad if he lost, right? Like, I just think about all those great games, all the, obviously 92, 93 against the Kings, that final goal in game 6 that put it into overtime. He skated off the bench. If you remember, he didn't even break. They had a shift. They had the puck in the Kings zone, and he literally comes off the bench, keeps skating, takes a pass, and, wrists it in. It was just like, that's the kind of guy he was. Like, oh, you need someone to score? Put me on. I'm going to score right now.
I love, old school Wendell highlight. He did it all too, man. He could chuck both ways. He was just a true Western leaguer through and through. Did you play growing up?
I did. Nothing great. I wasn't, I banged around, but I played till I was like 13 and I was a goalie, which makes sense. It makes sense now, right?
Yeah, you nut job.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Well, you got like a side piece team when like Toronto gets out? Is there someone else you might root for?
Yeah, so I was the other night I was in New York, and so I went to Madison Square Garden because I lived in New York for over 20 years, so I'd go to a lot of Rangers games, and so I will go support the Rangers, once the Leafs are out for sure.
All right, well, it's been nice having you, Will. So.
Oh no!
Yeah. Hey, they started booing their team though, because that was the game where they couldn't close out, and in the third period they laid a massive egg, and you were there with Wayne, right?
Yeah, I was there with Wayne. By the way, so I tell Wayne, you guys, I can say this, hey Biz. So I go. I was just texting with Biz because I'm going to go and do the podcast with him, and he goes, "You tell him that I'm pretty offended that he didn't ask me." So I texted Biz, and Biz is like, I don't want to bug him. I bug him all the time. People are asking him for shit all the time. So I tell him that we're laughing. He goes, let's call him. So I FaceTime Biz, and then Wayne just falls in right behind me. And
that's how Biz knows he's made it, dude. He's got you and Gretz FaceTiming him, and he's just sitting there smoking weed, yelling about Bruins fans.
He won't even answer my text now. He's so upset that I didn't give him the initial invite. So
I know. I think he's legit mad.
We'll have to.
Well,
I
got such a kick out of like your podcast. You were telling us the story. It's with Sean Hayes and Jason Bateman. So for anyone on the chat or listening who doesn't know, Can you explain to everyone like how you go about and the guests that you guys get, like your whole deal you do? I love it. Smartless.
Smartless. Yeah, we started it 4 years ago during COVID, and we were just like, what are we going to do? So we came up with this idea that like if one of us has a guest and the other two don't know who it is. First of all, the great thing is the other two don't have to prep, right? So it's built-in genius already. For lazy guys, it's perfect. And then the one guy gets prepped and he asks the question and stuff. But actually what ends up happening is you have more of a conversation like this, where we don't have actual, like we're just kind of going on the fly, usually a better way to do it. And so we started doing it. And because it was COVID, everybody was home. So everybody was available. So we started calling, first of all, a lot of people we know, a lot of our friends, people who are other actors or performers or whatever. And once that took off, other people were like, well, yeah, I guess I'll do it too. So we've ended up having like lots of pretty awesome guests, and we've had everything from scientists to news people to a couple weeks ago we had Biden, Clinton, and Obama on the same time, all three presidents.
Whoa.
Yeah, and the six of us just sat around and chit-chatted. We just had our 200th episode with Marty Short and Steve Martin did it together. We'd already had Marty on a couple of years ago. The two of them just unreal.
RA's got a boner right now. Those are all your throwbacks, right, RA?
That synchronized swimming, Will, like I'm not a strong swimmer. Oh, that is all-time Saturday Night Live segment.
Dude, he is Marty. Well, first of all, Steve Martin obviously is just a legend. Like he's one of those guys to me. And then Marty Short is the funniest person you'll ever talk to. And I feel like he doesn't get the just due that he deserves. He's so freaking funny, that dude. If you ever watched that movie, Clifford, is it Clifford? Whatever
Clifford, with Charles Grodin.
Yeah, Grodin, where he plays a little kid.
Yeah.
Yep. He plays a 12-year-old, and there's a scene in there where Grodin goes, can you just be can you just look at me like a normal boy? And Marty Short goes, like he looks at him like this, unreal.
Space too. That was probably
meeting all these famous people in Hollywood. Were you intimidated early on? Like just being a Canadian boy, like all of a sudden being thrown in the mix?
Well, for sure. I mean, it happened really gradually. Like I spent years starving and whatever. And then you start meeting more people or working with people and you're like, oh man, yeah, definite like pinch yourself moments. But I'm still, because I am such a Canadian kid, what I get really knocked out about is hockey players, athletes in general, but hockey players really knocked me out. So like when I went to the Olympics in 2010, I went with Shanny. He was working at the league at the time. And I drove him nuts because we'd be going to all these events. He did that ring of gold or whatever, because it was, if you've won a Stanley Cup, World Championship, and Olympic gold. And at that time, there were only like 22 guys who had it. They did this big ceremony. Meanwhile, I just keep going like, Shanny, there's Matt Sundin. Start a conversation with Matt Sundin. He's like, come on, man. I go, just say hi to him or something. He goes,
like a seeker.
Yeah. And he goes, hey, Matt. So I go, oh, hey, man. How are you? I didn't see, you know what I mean? just annoying him. I'm his annoying friend, but I get knocked. Like, again, All-Star game. So I met Wendell, and I was going to say this before, and then I met Dougie Gilmore down in I go down to get in the car underneath, and there's Dougie talking to Wayne. And I go up to, Doug Gilmore was like, he's a pretty close second there for me. Like, he's just unreal killer. I have a buddy of mine got his friend who's an artist. He did a charcoal drawing of Doug Gilmore that my son has hanging in his room, like a one-off. Like that's how so, and then I've got to have moments like where I got to, because I got to know Wayne a little bit over the years and doing the show and et cetera, like sitting there waiting for the car and then go, Wayne, have you ever met my dad? Like, I get to say that. Like, that was, as a kid from Toronto, like that's not, the novelty has not worn off. It's massive, man. And then he's super nice, and he's always, Mr. Arnett, nice to meet you. Like, just get in the car, and my dad's, going to be 86, and he's like, holy geez, Willie, like that's,
Well, hey, we appreciate you coming. What do you have going on in the pipeline right now? Any movies coming out? What's
Yeah, we start. Well, right now we're just working on the script. We start shooting this movie in the fall.
Jason Bajorn.
Jason Bajorn, which is Memes' movie. Which again, we're going to do its own episode. All right, book that. Put that on the books, okay? But we had yeah, exactly. we're doing this movie that I wrote that we start shooting in the fall in New York. It's me and Bradley Cooper directing, and me and Laura Dern. Yeah, so it's going to be really fun.
Coop. That's a big dog right there. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Dern, great actress.
So we're a few months out from that. It's it's about to happen. So that's pretty
Ray's
cool.
just looking for that invite to the
it's like, do you need any extras?
Yeah.
Extra out here, Boston.
All right, what were you? Weren't you an extra in the movie The Departed?
No, I didn't get.
You don't know that bit, Biz? Was that just a troll?
No,
he's told us 57,000 times.
Well, I want him to tell the
First
story.
of all, Biz, as you must know, and already I'll say it for you. It's not The Departed. It's The Departed.
Departed. The Garden and The Departed.
The
I
Departed.
didn't get called for The Departed. I got called for The Town though. And I got
Did
called
you?
for Shutter Island. Yeah. You wouldn't know it was me. It's like a fat white blob in the background of a mirror. But Entertainment Tonight had a on-set photo, which you can clearly see it's me. So they kind of bailed me out there.
You know the scene. You know the
scene. Did that come through Phil Barano?
No, I just
you don't know.
You know. I know Brian. Yeah, I know Brian. I know his brother Brian well.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
God, Boston's the best. Everybody knows everything. I know. It's so good.
17 of us,
You know the scene with John Hamm when he's the cop and he goes in to talk to the junkie Blake Lively in that little bar in the town?
Yeah.
R.A.'s the cook in the background.
Come on.
Food. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So when they're talking,
last time he cooked for himself was that scene.
not a microwave. You see like a white blob, like it's like meatball with a t-shirt and apron in between them, but it's the reflection of the mirror from the corner of the bar. So hey, it's one of my claims to fame, I guess. But
did you say anything to Blake Lively? Did you say what's up?
No,
start
we yell that low. I'm not even on the call sheet. No, you just don't
like,
get
you
caught
got any
staring.
futures on the NHL? I want to hear mine.
She is an absolute knockout doll. I'll say that. I had
she's
turn your head. You're being a creep. Turn your head. Being a creep right now. But no, it was a great experience, man. I hope to do it many more times. So
have you ever had a? I was going to ask him have you ever had a makeout scene in a movie, and how awkward is that if like you're married and the other person's married?
Yeah, a few times. It's a weird thing. Like I did. You just have to. Yeah, it's very odd. It's very, very odd, and it's so.
Do you have to have a conversation beforehand.
Yeah,
like, hey,
yeah, and it feels you do, and it feels like kind of mechanical. You know what I mean? Because you're just kind of doing it for the thing. And the last time I did it was, I can't. When I did this movie, Next Goal Wins. This guy Taika Waititi did. It was about this soccer team that couldn't American Samoa whatever. So I have this scene at the end, and it was me and Elizabeth Moss, who I've known for a long time, who's awesome.
Oh,
I got to Google her.
And there's this. She remember from Mad Men and everything.
Hey,
She's incredible.
Yeah.
She's incredible. Handmaid's Tale. She's just unreal. But the camera comes on as everybody's celebrating, and she and I are playing like we're a couple. And she goes, so we're celebrating. She goes, I guess when it came, should we kiss? And I go, yeah, I guess we should. So, all right, yeah, okay. And then in the camera turn, and we just give it, and then that's it. Like it's just like a very it's business. You know what I I mean?
Tongue? You throw the tongue in there? Do you talk about the tongue? No, just a peck?
No.
Just a little peck? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Will, it was an honor and a pleasure to have you here for our 500th show, man. And hopefully,
thank you, Will.
Hey,
I don't know what it'll be, but
by the way, congratulations to you guys on 500. That is awesome. You guys, honestly, you guys rock. You guys are hilarious and on it and honest and great. So congrats.
The last thing, who's your cup pick? Who do you like moving forward here?
It's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know who gets out of Edmonton, Vancouver. I mean, it's such a toss-up right now. But I'd like to see like Edmonton Rangers would be a really fun final. That would be right. It would be pretty sick. So I think the Rangers have it. I think that they're going to regroup after the other night, and they're going to come out and close it out. But again, Florida, like my dad says to me, after he goes, I feel like even though we lost to the Bruins, he's like, I don't think we could have beat the Panthers anyway. So like, Florida's pretty tough, man. I mean, they can turn it on, and then you're just absolutely gone. So I don't know. It's a tough one. I don't really have a pick.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Looking forward to writing the script with you for Jason Bjorn and Bjorn, I should say. And we'll see you soon, buddy. And best of luck with everything moving forward.
Fantastic. Thank you, boys. Congrats.
Thank
Great
you.
to see you.
Thanks a bunch.
Thanks, Will.
That was awesome. Huge surprise.
Guys, real quick, I know we
Yeah.
said no more guests. I have one guy, and he's on top of his donkey fanny. So I have to bring him in. He only has a few minutes. Welcome, Tom Green, to the show.
Hey!
Wow, this is a throwback.
Guys, how are you? Whoa,
What's
how you
up,
doing there,
buddy?
bud?
That's Fanny?
How's it going? Good. Congratulations on your 500th. Is it 5,000th or 500th episode?
500.
Feels
close
like
enough.
5,000.
500. Okay, guys. I thought maybe it was the 5,000th because you guys are like an institution in this country. Love you guys. Good to see you. Congratulations.
We're so
Thank you,
honored
buddy.
that you were able to join us, Tom.
Well, absolutely. I'm here. Since I think I was last on the show, I moved back to Canada, right? So here I am. This is Fanny, and we're streaming live here from the farm, eh? Getting her done. And you're gonna
What
have
are
to
in all
play
those
pond
packs
hockey
on
with me
Fanny?
this,
What's on Fanny right now? Those bags. What are those full of?
Well, I'm about to head out into the great blue yonder there, eh? We're going on a little adventure today, so it's pretty much all rugged wilderness terrain around here for millions and millions of acres of black bear infested, wolf infested forest. So I got to have my lunch and certain supplies, self-defense items, etc., etc. So, video camera, because I got to stream everything on Instagram because I'm a 53-year-old man, and that's what 53-year-old men do in 2024 is they stream themselves on Instagram riding their horse through the woods.
Does your dog go with you on these excursions?
Yeah. Hey, Charlie, come here. Charlie, come.
Oh, yeah. He's a beauty dog.
You gotta meet Charlie. Charlie, come here. Come. Here she comes. Look at this. Come on.
This is unbelievable.
Come on, Charlie. There's Charlie. Yeah, come on, Charlie. Come on.
Oh, what a good puppy.
Come say hi to Biz Nasty and the boys there over at Spittin Chiclets there, eh?
Hey, Charlie. Hey, and Tom, on this farm, do you grow your own vegetables and fruits and stuff, or you just kind of keep it other stuff?
Who are you calling a fruit? What? No, radishes mostly, just radishes.
Okay.
What
All right.
province are you in, Tom?
Well, you know what? I'm in Manitoba, actually. Yeah, northern Manitoba, up near Flin Flon.
Wow, no shit, huh? Like,
Yeah.
when you go, do you carry a piece on you when you go out in the woods like that?
What's that?
You carry like a piece, like a gun, when you go in the woods like that because all the animals?
Well, I don't like to talk about Fight Club when we're not at a Fight Club,
Have you been watching any of the Stanley Cup playoffs? And if so, who's your pick, Tom? Who do you got going forward?
Well, is Ottawa still in it?
No, they got they're done. They're done.
I'm not even really following it, to be honest with you. I am ashamed to say. I'm always rooting for Ottawa, and then after that, it's any Canadian team, and then after that, it's the Phoenix Coyotes all the way. Just the Phoenix Coyotes, because that's your team, right, Biz Nasty? You're still playing for them, right?
You know what? I was thinking? If they would have been wearing neck guards like you did, I think that they could have stayed in Arizona. I think they would have made playoffs. They would have made a little bit more money because of the protection around their neck, much like you had growing up with the big.
Oh yeah, I was there the first year of the neck guard craze, and it's amazing. People treated it like it was COVID-19 or something like that.
Tom,
they didn't want to wear the mask. They didn't want to wear the neck guard. It's just
they alienated you because of your neck brace.
The controversy when people ask us to strap stuff on our faces and our necks, huh? I don't want to get into politics. I don't want to get into politics. No. It's going to get heated in the comments section. I don't want to.
Oh, it's already there.
There.
It's already there. Why didn't you step up with all the money you made into Hollywood and buy part of the Ottawa Senators?
I blew it all. I blew all the cash on this mule, and so unfortunately, I didn't have that Snoop Doggy Dogg Ryan Reynolds cash floating around to go in and do that, but that would have been fun. I'm not sure. Not sure if I'm really cut out to be, hockey owner. It seems like it would be fun, but maybe if I work a little harder, maybe next year I'll be able to buy a hockey team. Not this year.
Maybe if we end up buying a team and maybe we'll get you involved, could you sing the anthem? for us one game?
Well, absolutely, of course, I'd love to do that. I'll do it. I'll bring a guitar and I'll do it. I'll do that for you.
You don't have that money from my bum is on your lips. You blew all that cash.
No, I just sort of, I just ate through all that Freddie got fingered money pretty quick.
Oh man. Well,
Tom, I'm doing okay, guys. I'm doing okay. I actually have a new show coming out this year on Amazon Prime. It's called Tom Green Country. It's about me moving to this farm, and then I've got I'm touring, doing stand-up, so I'm actually doing all right. I don't have hockey team money, but I got a mule. This is Fanny, by the way. She's not a horse. She's a mule.
I love it. I can't wait to see that show, Tom. Thank you for coming on. Good luck on your quest.
Thanks for having me, guys, and congratulations. I appreciate it. I say this every time I'm on the show, but I remember I was doing stand-up in Arizona probably, I don't know if it was 15 years ago, and was it 10, 15 years ago, Paul? And you guys came down to the show, and we ended up hitting some clubs in Scottsdale that night. I think it was a game night too, which was impressive.
We ended up at Wayne Gretzky's place that he kept.
He didn't play.
All of his kids were going to ASU at the time, and he showed up to the after hours, and he got on the guitar, and he was playing the piano a little bit too, and then we eventually. Well, I went and saw you do stand up. You were incredible, and then we actually bumped into you when we were in Nashville on a road trip. And that's when you got to meet Adrian Aucoin and the rest of the Coyotes guys, and we befriended each other and been friends ever since, buddy. And you're a class act, a Canadian icon, and we're so grateful at the fact you were able to stop by and make episode 500 so special, man. So we love you. Congratulations on all your success, and look forward to that new show coming out, man. You're a legend.
Thanks, Paul. Biz Nasty 2.0. I love it. It's just Biz Nasty 3.0 now, I guess, right? Congrats, guys.
The cleaner version. Love you, buddy.
Thanks so much, Tom. Oh man, absolute character. Another great guest.
That guy is funny bastard. The way he so just, funny. Oh my God.
He's like, I can only join now, and I'm on my donkey Fanny. So I'm like, all right, boys, I'm sorry. I got to put him through. Him through.
Well, we appreciate you people in the chat who are here for all the hockey talk, but we wanted to bring by some special guests for 500, and I'm sure you guys love it. Where were we going to go to next for what series?
Next, we actually have a word from our sponsor, Paul.
Okay.
All right, guys, before we go any farther, I want to talk to you about our good friends at G4 and in particularly the Galavan Tour. Start golf season off right and get to G4 right now. Right now, it's the premier destination for all things golf, and their new tourney capsule is jam-packed with shoes in seasonal shades of green, and they're seriously a style for any type of player. Everything from the classic Galavan Tour G-Lock with replacement soft spikes to the new sleek Galavan Tour, and it's all available, and all of them kick ass in the comfort department. Your feet, for real, will feel like they're getting a massage. Rock yours at all the big tournaments this year, and we'll see you out there. Check out G4's 2024 tourney collection, and don't forget to visit g4.com/chiclets. That's GFORE.com/chiclets for 10% off your first order. Look at these bad boys. Can't beat them.
Is Biz Stradamus back here or what? Biz, you said Carolina might be the team that can come back from down 3-0. Well, they have forced a game 6. They put another 4 spot on the Rangers. They had the MSG crowd boom. We just said that is absolutely brutal. But Carolina looking to become the 10th team to force a game 7 after being down 0-3. We'll see what happens there. Biz, they're going to do it. Obviously, you got 2 for 2 so far. I'm assuming you're confident they outplayed in both games.
Yeah, so special teams and goaltending was a story earlier in this series, right? Carolina was brutal on the power play, taking way too many penalties, taking the flow out of their own game. Because 5-on-5, boys, I think that they're the better team in this series. But we didn't see that the first 3 games. So I'm telling you, man, if they're able to stay disciplined going back home to Carolina, I think all the pressure's on New York to try to close this thing out. The fact that they laid that big of an egg at home was shocking to me, especially how they've played throughout the entire playoffs. Boys, 1 high danger scoring chance through 60 minutes of play at home to close out a playoff series. Who had it? Trouba. That's the craziest part about all of it. He ends up sniping to put them up 1-0, and then everything imploded in the third period. I don't think we're going to be able to show the video, but we'll be breaking it down on TNT because we got their game tomorrow, the first one. I think it was Roslovic who just drives by, and then on the stall goal, brutal coverage where he could have just went and finished the hit, killed the playoff, and they would have lived to fight another day. So an awful play there. And then that's the Stahl goal. That was a huge rush by Stahl. He ends up using that reach, getting past the defender, slide one by Shesterkin. But it was the next one that shocked me even the most is Panarin was in perfect position, going back on the back check. Kuzi was behind him. And then next thing you know, he just lets Kuzi blow right by him. It's like a POP rebound off the pad and then knee drop right to the back of the net into the call right into the corner. And then boom, right after that, I think all the goals happened in a 4-minute span where it was them on the forecheck. And then Martinook gets that third and insurance policy towards the end of the game, where after that, you knew Carolina had it locked up. And that was the one where you're like, hey, if they can keep getting bodies in front of Shesterkin, because you saw it even the game before when Stahl was in front of him, when Nason had the one, it's all about the traffic. If you go back to every goal scored this playoffs, I think right now Shesterkin, he's been incredible. Don't get me wrong. He's the reason why they're in the situation they're in, among a few other things like Panarin and Trocheck. But with goalies, with screens and or tips, he has the worst save percentage in all of playoffs. So if you get bodies in front and you get a stick on it, you're in good shape with Shesterkin. So if they stay 5-on-5 and they keep getting that traffic, mark my words, boys, this is a team that could come back because they're an incredible 5-on-5 team, as we know. And the deeper this goes, Carolina doesn't rely on 1 or 2 lines. They can roll 4. So all of a sudden, those top guys stay a little bit fresher than New York's top guys. They're better 5-on-5, and they can rely on those bottom matchups. And the back end, they have seemed to figure things out. Burns has been a lot better. Slavin's been a lot better. They might even get Pesci for Game 6 as well. Apparently, he practiced today with a contact jersey on, so look out. I don't think that Tony DeAngelo has played that bad in his filling in that role. But I think that he's a completely different player. He's better defensively. He's better at closing on guys on that man-on-man defense. And, buddy, I'm telling you, Carolina at home, that crowd's going to bring it, and it's going to be a very, very entertaining game. I don't know what you guys think about the rest of it, but if Anderson's solid like he was in Game 6, I know he didn't have a ton of chances come his way, but overall, I'm liking Carolina right now, boys.
I was really impressed with the special teams was a disaster. But then Game 4, Carolina, 2 penalties. Game 5, they got 3 penalties. One of them was a puck over the glass. I think Kuznetsov did it, though. So they're realizing, all right, we pretty much can't take penalties because not only are they not scoring, well, Shea got that huge goal in Game 4, but they're giving up more chances shorthanded than the Rangers get any other way. So it's like we can't take penalties. And for 2 games now, they've done a good job. If you get 2 and 3, that's fine. You can deal with that. It's the games you get in 5 or 6. At some point, even if the Rangers don't score, it's momentum. So they figured out a way to stay out of the box. And now I don't think momentum goes from game to game. I really don't. But being home in a must-win game again after looking like your season was done, the fans, they're just like, oh, my God, we didn't even know if we'd see you back. We knew we'd get Game 4. That might have been it. No, we're getting a Game 6. I think this is going 7. It's all about Shesterkin, though, because he has this ability to steal the game. He gave up 4 for the first time in like 30 starts, and then it was 3 last game. They got an empty netter for their 4th one to make it 4-1. But if he dials it in, that's the worry for the Hurricanes, is if they don't get traffic, he's saving everything. So if they can continue this, we get a Game 7 where anything can happen, like we're talking with Florida, Boston. But the Rangers, man, shocking, as you said, Biz, to show up at home. My buddy was at the game, sent me the pregame video of them getting on the ice, places going bananas, and then nothing, crickets. And even with the poor play, they got a 1-0 lead going into the 3rd. Let's close this thing out. And they just get crushed in the 3rd period with the chance to move on to the conference finals. Shocking.
They were getting booed, Whit. They were getting booed at home.
Yeah, that's kind of. I mean, they at that point they were what, 7-1 in the playoffs.
Fugazi fans.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I agree with the booing, but Laviolette was disgusted after because you'd think that after the second, all right, guys, we have nothing. Like, we've been shit, and somehow we're winning because of Shesterkin. Let's at least have 20 minutes, dude. End this series. We're not even tied. Just hold on to this lead. Boom, boom, boom. 3 5-on-5 goals. 4, including the empty netter, I guess. But it was shocking to see that effort. I thought at least in the third period they'd figure it out, and nothing.
And then, of course, the Fugazi fans all over Trouba because he said something in the post game like, well, you don't expect to win them all, where they took that quote and they ran. All right, what do you make of the fans booing them at home? Like, they've been great all playoffs. Obviously not the best effort, but to send them off to Carolina getting booed at home, now all of a sudden if Carolina wins in 6 and they come back home, that's fucking, I don't know, man.
Absolutely fucking pathetic. Absolutely fucking pathetic. Your team won their first 7 games of the playoffs. They lose the first game at home, and you fucking boo them because they can't close the fucking team.
Yes.
Fuck, get the fuck out of here, Ranger fans. Fucking clean it up. You're supposed to be a fucking original 6, no better. You're booing your team. They lost their first game of the playoffs. Now I'm fucking doubling down on Carolina. I might put a fucking dime on the next game just on this alone.
Weren't Bruins fans booing the Bruins?
We were telling them to shoot
No,
the
they were
fucking
just
puck.
chanting "shoot the puck." That's it. No booze.
Oh, that might be worse than a boo, but
Honestly, I know it sounds embarrassing, but if you were in the barn that night, it was wholly justified.
They were probably yelling it at McAvoy. He didn't have any shots in the first 4 games of the series. Like, what the fuck you expect?
So
him to
do you throw? Oh! I'm glad we just remembered this. What the fuck are they doing? Putting Hedl into this series, dude. Young kid, and this has nothing to do with like where this series is at. Just for this kid's health, like all these concussions, all this time off since November, you throw him in, and now I really hope he's not concussed. I mean, they said he didn't feel good, but it's like I just don't see that. They were up 2-0 when they threw him in, and then this kid that made no sense to me. But now has Rempe, like, let's get Rempe in the mix a little bit more. I know it sounds ridiculous because he's not really scoring goals, but maybe he'll run some people over or do something. You wouldn't even hate as a Rangers fan to see him take a suspension in Game 6.
Yeah, I mean, he played.
Is that
6-0-1.
crazy?
No, it's not.
It's not.
I felt when he was in the lineup, things became a little bit unhinged on both sides, and it led to more power plays, which would lead to me to maybe insert him in the lineup. The only thing is I go back to, though, is Carolina so deep, and he's not going to play much, right? He's going to play his 4 or 5 minutes, and if he doesn't make an impact quick, then all of a sudden you're left with 11 forwards, right? And like I said, the longer this series goes and the more disciplined it is, the more the Rangers are hooped, in my opinion. Going back to the power play where they finally cashed in, it was Ace who pointed this out. They made the adjustments going into Game 5 where they had Brady Shea at the top, where he's a lefty, and then they had Schvetch on the other side as that flank on the right side, who's also a lefty. So all of a sudden they became the option for the one-timer. And obviously, sure enough, their one power play goal of the series was going from Brady Shea. Now, that was the game before. That was game 4 in which they won. But nonetheless, they figured things out. They made adjustments, and it helped them propel them to a win. So I don't know. I don't really have much else to say. I expect a way better effort from New York, but I also expect a better effort from Carolina going home all jazzed up, feeding off that energy of the home crowd.
Yeah, because the Rangers, they only had 21 shots last game, the fewest of the playoffs so far. The power play 0 for 8 in the last 3 games. Rempe, 6-0-1 last game, 1 hit. Really didn't notice him out there. I didn't see him do much out there. As far as the series, Carolina's actually outscoring him 16-15 right now. And going back to the teams coming back from being down 3-0, like I said, they could be the 10th team to do it. Teams are 4-5 that forced a Game 7. The last team to do it, the Kings back in 2014, they forced a Game 7 and they won it. Beat San Jose. Also, the Kings in 2014, 2010 Flyers, 75 Islanders, and 42 Maple Leafs completed the comeback entirely, with each of the past two instances also forcing a Game 6 with the Game 5 road victory. So teams have
I'm so confused.
I know.
I'll say this.
Completed.
I Panthers fans won't love this, and I'm sorry.
I call those crack stats.
Canes fans won't love this, but I think the Panthers are going to win the series against the Bruins. Give me Rangers Panthers over Canes Panthers. Like last year, I know it was a sweep, and I know it would probably be closer. Just the excitement of the Rangers in the mix. I'm rooting for them. Also a huge Chris Drury fan. I want to see Rangers Panthers. I just feel like that's more excitement for for other fans, other teams' fans. I think people would rather watch Rangers Panthers than Canes Panthers. Canes fans will be pissed off at me, but that's how I feel. So I want the Rangers to get it done.
I just want both going to 7, and I don't care who wins. I'd actually prefer, like you said, the Rangers if I had to lean one way, because of the fact that you've got two juggernauts going at it. The storyline, and it would also be fun to see the Florida Panthers beat the shit out of the New York Rangers. For all you Rangers fans in the chat, suck my horn. Over to you, RA.
Yeah, because Kuznetsov, he scored for the Hurricanes in both games 4 and 5. What's weird about that, the teams who have come back from down 3-0, the Kings, Tyler Toffoli back in 2014, the Flyers, Simone Gagne and Ville Leno back in 2010, and the 42 Leafs, Nick Metz and Sil Apps. The same players scored goals in both games 4 and 5 en route to forcing a game 6. Kuznetsov has done the same thing. Those other teams all come back from down 3-0. So pretty interesting that he scored 2 games
the
in a row.
Illuminati. RA's the Illuminati.
That's a deep dig right there, RA.
That's a deep cut. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Deep in the mine shaft there with that nugget.
Clean it up, Rangers fans. Game 6 Thursday at 7 p.m. How about those Dallas Stars? They pushed the Avalanche to the brink. 21-year-old Wyatt Johnson continues to build his legacy already. Kid just turned 21 yesterday. By the way, Fishy, we got to look at that awful birthday cake the boys hooked him up with. What? I mean,
that's so classic.
This guy just turned 21. How crazy is this?
Okay.
Jesus.
This guy's front runner for the Conn Smythe.
This guy's done. And Montgomery telling Merles back in the day that it's a young Patrice Bergeron, and then him growing and being the leading goal scorer of Dallas this year. Dude, no play has made somebody more impressive and put somebody more on the radar to the not huge hockey fan than stripping Cale Makar of the puck like that, shorthanded, burying your own rebound, and scoring one of the nicest goals of the season. Was the actual goal that nice? No. The entire play, buddy, you don't take the puck from Cale Makar.
One hand.
Little stick check off of the best skating defenseman in the league. And all of a sudden, back of the net, shorty. I was like, who was that? That wasn't Makar. Holy shit, that was Makar. That was number 8. And that's when you're like, this guy's special. This kid has something about the clutchness, being able to score in game 7s. 20 years old doing this. I know he just turned 21
penalty kill, power play, doing it all.
Everything. It's wild. And I can't believe that so many teams kind of missed out with him barely playing or not even playing at all his draft year. You got to think if he's playing games that year, he doesn't slide all the way down to where Dallas could get him, because there's something about every time you see a great player that's not necessarily like blows you away with speed or skill. Like, he's more just the complete package. It is like Patrice Bergeron. Like, no part of his game is like, oh my God, like McDavid skating or Matthew's shot. It's just everything put together is magical, and he's leading this team. Pasha's bet on him winning the Conn Smythe at, what is it, 100-1?
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
100-1.
Hey, wait, you mentioned Merles there. Why don't we just bring on Merles?
Let's get Murr in the mix for this series.
Yo.
There he is.
Dallas.
Congrats on 500, boys.
Dumber.
Thank you.
Although, all right, I did see in the chat, this guy Chris in the chat said 500 for Chiclets, but only $4.99 for RA. For the infamous sleep-in one.
and the pod sussy. Didn't he get a pod sussy when
I appealed it successfully.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, when I slept through, they didn't do it. Oh, yeah. I thought you meant like 10 years ago. Yeah, the more recent one. That's right, too, with the Apple 14.
There's been multiple.
Fuck you, bros.
Yeah, no, but all right, I got to pump you up. I was listening to my first ever interview on here way back in September 2017, pre-biz. You guys called me. I think it was like 2 a.m. in South Korea. I had just taken a sleeping pill. I was all banged up. But we got through the interview, and at the very end of it, you're like, because we were talking gambling the whole time, you're like, hey, man, maybe he's going to be our DraftKings specialist. So
no
fast
shit.
forward 7 years.
Yeah, because DraftKings was with Barstool then. It was like a sponsor. Merles, I remember somebody canceled and I called you.
Zach Werenski. It was Zach Werenski canceled on us.
Zach Werenski canceled on us like 15 times and then chipped in on our ass in that sandbagger with Andrew Kopp. What a beauty. And Merles, I remember you're like, no, because we were trying to plan your episode. You're like, I said, I need you. I just took a sleeper. I'm like, oh, that'll be great then.
No, I was you could hear me banged up on there. And then RA's like,
it was unreal timing. He's like, Merles probably needs some help with this. You had some sleep help ad as well. So it was just unbelievable how that all worked out. I even looked back the episode right before it. Biz was on just as a guest. So really wild how far it's come, but congratulations, boys. And thanks for letting me be a small part of it.
I think that maybe the all-time mush. I think ever since I said Makar was better than Lidstrom and Bobby Orr, he's went pointless in 3 games and -6. Mur, you're the Abs guy. Have you ever seen Cale Makar neutralize like this?
I've never seen him look human like this. It's incredible. They're done. I'm going to take the jersey off here in a minute. I'm done with them. Nichushkin blew it again. He blew it first again.
You said that they needed to keep him in the Baza.
It's insane. You said that.
Yeah, it's sick. I'm getting hot here on my insider and my rumor boys. I'm starting to heat up a little bit. You know, I had the Nichushkin. It should have been in the Baza. I knew something was going to happen. So
you
bad.
actually texted the group chat and you were aware that he was not going to be in the lineup beforehand, kind of like you knew that Wall wasn't going to be playing in Game 7 for the Leafs. Now, do we have any idea what it is?
The guy that told me it was a failed drug test, but I feel like I saw something earlier today online that said it wasn't. But I know when the players have been in that before, way back when, even when it was just for alcohol, they show up at your house at any time and you got to go take a piss test. So,
and they don't I don't think the league does the drug test for like
fun stuff.
What?
Like fun stuff?
No. In the like during the season, you can get randomly drug tested for performance enhancing. I don't think they do in the playoffs. So I think it would be a random test being in the program. Now let's get ahead of this because we all laughed when Merle said keep him in the Baza. Like you weren't really kidding. It's also really sad, dude.
Sad.
And you feel for this person. Like addiction's a scary thing. I thought Bednar was unbelievable.
Yes.
Just kind of let's let him talk.
Sorry to belabor this, but we know there's a human element involved here that you look at as important also. Yeah. But how much did Val let down you and this team?
Well, I'm not going to go there. I think, like, listen, Val obviously is struggling with something, right? I have 2 thoughts. Yeah, it sucks for our team. We got to turn the page. We got to go play way better than we did today. There's still 20-plus guys in that room that care and that want to win and that are here, and that's what we have to focus on. It hurts our team. There's no question. He's a great player. And the second one is, like, I've gotten to know Val as a person, and I've gotten to know him as one of our teammates and a player, and I want what's best for him. And I want him to be happy, and I want him to be content in his life, whether that's with our team or not with our team. I want the best for him and his family. I think all of our guys are the same, and we hope that he can, like, find some peace and get help. And so that's the other side of it. Like, it's not, hockey's not life and death, although we treat it like it is. And so Val's a big priority, and our team's like another one. Now it's separated. They're not together. Like, he's done for 6 months plus, whatever that looks like. And so again, we treat it like an injured player that's not able to play for us, like OC or Landy. I mean, we got to worry about the guys that are on the ice and are able to play for us.
Yeah.
So I love how he brings up, like, yeah, it sucks. He said first thing, our team needs him, and it's a kick in the dick. But, buddy, this guy obviously has some serious demons. So as a former player who's seen a lot of former players fight a lot of different battles off the ice, you're like, man. And it doesn't even matter that he's so dominant when he's on and playing. Like, it could be a 4th line guy. You, like he said, you just want somebody to find peace and be able to be healthy and happy. And so it sucks. And the fact is, if it was party drugs, I don't know. But, like, look at how this guy was playing hockey. I mean, it's almost more impressive. Like, this guy is an absolute horse. And now you got 6 months suspension. You got to write a letter for reinstatement in the league where Gary Bettman's deciding if you'll ever play again. And it's a dude with a long contract that is so valuable. You saw him win it with him, losing the first round without him. And now without him, they look like shit. So they got McKinnon and Makar, and Nichushkin's that next piece. And it just, you feel horrible for him and his family. It's not about he fucked over the team. He's got problems.
Yeah, no, I mean the human element and whatever Bednar said is bang on, and we hope that this guy finds the peace that he deserves for him and his family, hockey aside. It just goes back to the last podcast. We had John Michael Lyles on, and he was saying, he goes, when the first line needs a boost, we throw him on the first line. When that second line's maybe not going as good, they move him down. Like, this guy was a major catalyst piece, a wrecking ball come playoff time, clutchness, so good for that power play as well. And then all of a sudden, not only just him, Taves doesn't end up playing in that next game too. So I just think that was such a gut punch to that roster that now, once again, they seem to look like, especially with the neutralization of Cale Makar, they look like they did against Seattle last year, where they only really have one play, and it's to put out that top line. And Rantanen, he hasn't even really looked himself ever since that hit with Elkholm. So I agree with you, Murr. I think that these guys are done right now. It's a shame. I thought they were going to put up a better fight, but I think that all of the focus needs to be turned on what Dallas and Coach DeBoer has instilled in this team, and how they're able to put the Colorado Avalanche nuts in a vice, squeeze out any bit of offense. They're not allowing those secondary opportunities, and really not even a lot of crazy good looks. Like, this Dallas team is such a well-oiled machine. They're getting production from the top guys, but look at fucking Dadonov. Look what Dadonov has done these playoffs.
And he wasn't even playing.
He was a healthy scratch, and he was like a fourth liner. Right? Like, they had him, I think they had him on the fifth line listed coming into playoffs, and all of a sudden he's making this type of impact. He's always been a honey badger, but it just goes back to Jim Nill and that staff for loading this team up the way they did, going to get Tanev at the deadline, who's probably outside of Heiskanen been their best defenseman, and Heiskanen has outperformed Cale Makar in this series. Hands down. Offensively,
Lidstrom never got outperformed by another defenseman.
I'm going to go take a loser lap for that comment.
Biz,
I'll hand it over to you guys. Yes.
Would you agree with me and Merles? No team in the playoffs right now. I don't think anyone comes close to being up 2-1 late in the game, and you're like, this thing's done.
Done.
Like,
Done.
They get a lead, buddy, and you're like, over. Like, when they were up in game 3, I took the Avs live going into the third. They were like plus 350. I'm like, oh, and then they didn't even sniff it. I think it was game 3. Maybe it was game 4. I was like, Jesus Christ. This, as you said, well-oiled machine that just locks it down. And then you got Ottinger. So it's the best team. It's the most impressive team in the playoffs. And we could also say, if they go on to win the Stanley Cup, it would be the most amazing run of teams to beat to get there. They're going to have to beat Vegas. They're going to have to beat Colorado. They're going to have to beat Van or Edmonton, and then they're going to have to beat the best team in the East. It would be the most impressive Stanley Cup win I can remember.
With 5D.
And
with
Jim
5D.
Nill also, with 5D. Jim Nill also, imagine they had Hakanpää. And Jim Nill also, not only did he bring in Tanev, Stankoven was like a trade, because Jim Nill had the smarts, and being in Detroit all those years and realizing we don't need to start him in the NHL. Let him be in the minors and let him dominate. It's the same thing we've talked about with kids leaving college. You got to dominate the level you're at before you move up. Let's go see you light up the AHL, and we know you're going to be an NHLer. What's the rush? Now, granted, they have enough players where they don't need to rush him in, but that's responsible GMing. That's prove your worth, dominate at a level beneath us, and you're coming up. And he did that. So it's just it's an incredible team that has zero weaknesses.
I don't think, Murr, we can overstate the fact that Dallas has been able to score first every game in the series too. They just get that lead, and then they don't. Michael Lyle said it last pod. He goes, I bet you could count on one hand how many odd man rushes they've given up. This maybe going back to game 1 when they fell off the rails a little bit, but just so disciplined in their structure, and it feels like it's frustrating the Avalanche.
Yeah, that's what I was off the Avalanche until Lyles came on, and then he kind of talked me back into it. But he said it. He goes, we have to get the lead tonight. And once they didn't get the lead, it was over. They keep their 2D back between the dots, just keep flipping it out. You saw it in Edmonton game last night. The D came flying up. Boom, odd man rush the other way. That's what Dallas isn't doing. They're just keeping the 2D back. Just stay out, keep everybody to the outside. It's really something else. This team's amazing. And if Ottinger sees it, he's stopping it. This guy is just a freak in the playoffs again. You remember him 2 years ago when he jumped on the scene in that Calgary game and he just stole that series. So I'm
the
all
one that
over.
went to 7, and he was all series. He was unbeatable too. Well, they lost 3 games, but
what's
but
crazy?
I'm on. I'll give a couple picks while I got the mic here.
Let's
so
go.
I'm on my golden goose Lehkonen. Last chance to get him at over 2.5 shots. Because it's the last game, I'm saying that Dallas 3-way plus 100. I'm sorry. I love the Avs. I love the coaches out there. But it's over. It's over. Dallas, they're going to get this win. They're going to get a little extra rest. Like you said, Whit. How good was Vegas now looking back? Like Vegas had this team on the ropes.
I know.
So that's my picks for tonight. On the 500th episode, I need a 2-0 night.
Yeah.
Bro,
I'm riding, Mer. I'm riding.
The Avs haven't held the lead for 1 second all series because the game they won was an OT. They haven't. They're 0-5 in series when trailing 3-1. Also tonight, Taves is back in the lineup for Colorado tonight. Hintz is out for Dallas. Foxa is in for him. Also, we're talking about Johnston. I want to give him a shout out for passing up a chance at the hat trick. Sent it over to Sam Steele. The automatical instead of trying to take it. Yeah, nice move. Everybody wants a hat trick. And Biz, this is from Bruce Levine. I know you mentioned Cale McCarr. No points the last 3 games, -6. Nathan McKinnon just 1 assist, -6 as well. Rantanen, 1 goal, -5 those last 3 games. I mean, Chris Tanev, man, obviously has a big part of that. What a pickup he turned out to be. And one other thing with Johnston, he is 3 goals in 5 potential series clinching games, including 2 series winning goals. 21 years
How
old.
about the stat of Johnston being the only player besides Wayne Gretzky to be that young, scoring a shorthanded and power play goal in a playoff game? Like this kid, it's incredible. Every game he's doing something else that you're just like, holy shit. He's not slowing down. He's getting better somehow.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what episode or what show I even said that on about Bergeron. I would do anything.
Season preview. It was a season
know the
preview.
Clip. Oh, I would love to have that clip somewhere. That could be my one call. And also, while we're on this 500 episode, I was digging into my second interview with you guys. That's the one where you flew me down to Philly, and that's where the Merle special. We did the draw.
Yeah. Versus Washington.
And then Biz is like, yeah, this guy Merle's telling us to bet draw plus 330, and everybody did it and went crazy. But part of that interview, it was right, I think, when Don Cherry was getting phased out, and I said, Biz is going to be the next Don Cherry of hockey.
Yeah.
Hey, you're on your way. You're big guy on TNT now. So
only be one Don Cherry.
So rumor boys, I might have another win coming down the pipeline in a few more years. Just keep that clip around as well.
I would assume there's people in the chat asking for us to get him on the pod. We've asked him. I hope at a certain point we'd be able to sit down with him live and just kind of talk about his full career. I don't think, every time we've asked him was the right time. I still maybe think he's kind of, I don't want to say going through withdrawals, but still upset about how everything went down. So he'd be a white whale guest, and I'd love to hear about his entire career, not only as like a player, coach, but of course the long media career as well. I got to take a mid-pod shit here. We're not going to get any guests on real quick, are we?
Gonna go to an ad from here, and
okay. Well, I'm gonna go take a shit. I'll see you guys in a few minutes.
All right, buddy.
No ad or no shits. All right, we're all out of ads. So Biz, you can take a shit if you want.
Should I just bring you guys in the shitter?
If you want, we have a guest coming up. So
who's coming?
You guys want to know right now?
I would like to be on for when he gets on.
Okay, so just go take your shit.
I'm saying bring him on. I'll say hi, and then I'm gonna go take a shit.
Just go shit.
Just go shit. He's not in the second.
We'll reminisce some more about my first episode. We talked the story about us going to AC that one time.
Oh my God! If people don't remember this one, we played a 3-3, and in the AHL you play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Arm dog, you were part of this team. We needed. I was hoping you come on. I didn't know if you were traveling. Do you remember when me and Mert did this Super Bowl Sunday night?
Explain it more. I didn't hear it. What
it was Super Bowl Sunday, right, Mer?
It was the Saturday before Sunday. Yeah, the Sunday before. We played Sunday in Philly. We drove all the way back to Wilkes-Barre. We went out all night at what's the grill there? Where we always partied. Oh my God. Arena Bar and Grill. And then after a night there, we decided to go to AC, right back through Philly. To AC.
Yeah. I remember that.
So on the way play in Philly, 2 hours home, go out all night, get an Uber, go back loaded, and we're all right. Let's go. Another 3-hour drive to AC to gamble. We got the next day off. So I'm like, I want a hot chocolate. Like, why did I want a hot chocolate? I have no idea. So I wait in the car. Guy's getting gas. Merle runs in, and he comes out. Wet. I got the hot chocolate. They had hot chocolate. Dude, this kid hit a piece of black ice and was like 6 feet in the air, parallel to the ground, lands on his back and a shoulder.
I looked like Trouba in that clip.
Yeah, you did. You did. But instead of stomach down, you were back down.
Yep.
It was in the air. It was like Rookie of the Year when the kid slips on the baseball, buckles his shoulder, and becomes a fireball fastball thrower. And you didn't even spill the hot chocolate. Army, he's holding it. I didn't spill it. It's still good. So
and then he got
went
to the casino and he could all of a sudden throw craps dice.
No,
like no
we
other.
got to the casino. The only reason we went to that casino was because we wanted to play double deck blackjack, in which there's only 2 decks and you see both of the dealer's cards. I don't even know if they still have this game, but we're like, that's the only way we win. We've only ever won playing double deck, where you see both of the dealer's cards.
Yeah.
You lose ties though. And so we get there. It's closed. The table's closed. It doesn't open for like 6 hours. So we get a hotel room. We go up in there. It was a smoking room, so it smelled like cigarettes. We're like, oh, I'm coughing. Just like shut it down for a couple hours, waiting for our double deck table to open. It opens. We go down. We lose everything in 30 minutes.
That was like me when I went to AC with you guys, and Simmer came with us. And we got right in there. I went to the blackjack table. I won like a bunch of money quick, and Simmer was going all crazy. Reed Simpson, he's like, stack them, Army, stack them. He was going crazy, and then he's like, dude, leave. They hate guys that do this. They hate. And so I took all my chips and I left, and I was walking around in Atlantic City on the boardwalk by myself. We'd been there for 40 minutes, and he didn't let me play the rest of the time. He made me take my money and leave. He was so happy.
What a
It's like,
bet.
this is how you do it. Yeah. Simmer, love that guy.
Where you at, Army? Where you headed?
So today is that event that we had Bugsy on Game Notes last week, Friday. Black and Gold Break the Mold event with the Malone Foundation, and they have their little gala tonight. So I'm down here early. I am helping with a little bit of like introductions on stage and doing some of that crap because I'm a media legend.
You are. You're
And
Army.
so-
I told my dad said to me, like, you're getting unbelievable on TNT, and I know you've done some color, buddy. You're it's like watching Wyatt Johnson grow as a player, buddy. You're getting better and better and better. So great job by you.
Color. I think you're incredible at color, man. We got to get more Army on TNT for
It's
color.
really good. Yeah, the color's been kind of, I don't know. I'll keep that to myself. But I think on both networks, I think Army, it's been amazing having you involved, you and Merles growing Game Notes. And do you remember your first episode on Chiclets? Because after you came on, you wouldn't come on for another 5 years.
Well, sometimes I didn't think a lot of people were unsure. I was trying to get my feet into the media business. The funny thing is, though, Whit, I think it was episode 7 or something was my first ever time on Chiclets.
I think 9. I saw it.
9. Okay.
Was he the first interview, G?
I believe we did like Barstool Jordy first, but he was like the first NHL player, I believe.
I was like, I'll call Army. He'll come on.
Yeah, I talked about our ass off competition when we who had the better ass, you and me.
And you gave the original Game Notes story, one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, unbelievable. So congratulations, you guys, though. And yes. This guy said that.
I had to use
Probably
my
smells like
sweater
shit,
to
too.
wipe my ass. I was actually pitting out on my sweater there, so I wanted to take it off. But go back to what episode, Arm?
9.
9.
You weren't even in
Wow.
the fold, busy. You were still
Damn.
playing, and I popped on there, and I remember original text messages. Whit wanted to get this going. Biz was still playing. I was, doing network stuff, and it just, I was unsure of the landscape, what was happening. Of course, it was all rapidly changing. No one knew what was happening. No one knew. Podcasts were just starting to kind of really pop up, be more mainstream. And I think everyone was trying to figure out where everything was going. And, ahead of the curve, you guys were juggernauts right out of the gates. And, I mean, for me personally, working with Merles and our little crew and our history of all of us together as well, it's been a dream come true. It's so comfortable. It's easy. It's fun. It's kind of woken me up and made me more comfortable at a lot of things that I'm doing now. So it's been a blast. 500 episodes, boys. Merles, it's a pleasure. G, RA, great work as always, and amazing to be a part. I think the coolest thing is being a part of this now, and being around it, but also being able to go to these events like Chiclets Cup and the finals and all the things that I've done with you guys in the last couple of years, getting kidnapped to the gambling cave in Hoboken. I mean, all this stuff, but like getting to see the community you guys have built, the fans that you guys have is unbelievable. The people are amazing. Our chat is popping. Our chat is insane. We got it rolling. And it's got a life of its own, all because of the fans of Chiclets. And so it's amazing. Thank you guys. Thank you, Merls.
Hey, right back at you and Mur too, man. Like adding guys to the squad, like opening up that NCAA stuff, and like us going even to the final or Frozen Four, excuse me. So it's nice having like friends on board and growing the brand and having different voices, different opinions, different jokes and stories from the path that you guys took. And obviously Merls with the gambling. And it's just been so fun getting reunited with guys that we used to play with. And hey, we look to continue to add to our bag. And Spittin Chiclets isn't just not just RA, just not me. It's a big family, including those people in the chat, even the whiny Bruins fans. It's all of us.
The best I gotta say, we got Saginaw hosting Memorial Cup busy, and Moose Jaw has Portland down now 3-0. Of course, I only talk about the Western League, of course. OHL, okay, whatever. London's gonna win. Whatever.
OHL.
Q's already dialed in. The Moose Jaw Warriors, though, this team is just a team of destiny. And so we got that on the horizon too. I don't know what we want.
Are you going to go to Saginaw? Because I might go on the 25th to open up the tournament for Saginaw's first game. They're asking me to go, but it's in between games in the conference final. I think Thursday and Saturday is when we have the conference finals, and they're starting on the Friday. Yeah. I probably will fly down. Would you go?
I would not mind. I would love to go. I've worked the tournament before. I've loved it. It's awesome. That's where I met Matt Barzell. That's where I met all these guys before they kick off their star careers. There's going to be guys there that are going to have that as well. So
open invite. Let's go. Anybody of the crew here who wants to go. Mur, I mean, I don't know if you can gamble on Memorial Cup games, but you're more than welcome.
I found them. London's up 3-0 from the show HL.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Army.
London
some of my best memories of you is Merls. Remember in the locker room, like Army. I don't have a great body either. We're not exactly great body guys, but Army's walking through the locker room butt naked, not the best body in the world. He's like $1 million bodies, boys, with his signing bonus. That's right when I met you. I'll never forget that. And the best part about this whole squad now, memes, and then other people, like our chat, and not just the chat during the show, our group text chat.
Yeah, oh my God.
It's my favorite thing. It's the Big Chiclets chat. We got one with G, RA, myself, and Biz, and then we got Big Chiclets with everyone else. That's the one we're usually always on, going through playoff games, talking about different plays, ripping on people, ripping on each other. So it's been a joy to have you come and be a part of this.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, 1:30 in the morning. The only thing keeping me going is watching hockey and our chat. I'm on the chat. It's highly electric. Love you, boys. Love you, boys.
Pasha.
Yeah.
All right,
love you, Army.
Army.
Boys, we mentioned the trying to stay up and the Russian gas a few times, so I think it's time to bring on maybe the funniest guest in Spittin Chiclets history.
No way you got
Tim Stapleton.
Holy shit.
Comrade.
This was like the biggest fail ever, man. Like when I popped on, I was like fucking so excited, and then I was like fucking sitting here for like 20 minutes with this thing on. Like,
holy shit.
Are you overheating?
Did you get this lid from the security guy?
Yeah. For like a stick.
You had to serve for 6 months. You're like, fuck it, I'll do it.
No, it was a torpedo.
Yeah,
There's a guy like stick, Russian hat, official. I'm like, this thing's fake as shit, but it's kind of sick.
Oh, Timmy.
It is kind of sick. What's up?
Not much. Hey, buddy. Shout out you and Chris Nyland, Raw Knuckles. You guys are crushing it now with your pod. How's that going?
It's good. I gotta fucking wear this. He's probably got like spies and shit making me wear this. No, it's good.
Yeah,
he's yeah, right. You know what I'm talking about. He's it's been good, man. I mean, I think it was something that just kind of came. We're like guest only kind of based, so we're not like yapping and stuff like that. But it's coming around. It's good. Anyway, thanks for having me on, guys. I'll see you guys.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
States, I actually didn't you and Vesey had a podcast going. I did a couple stories with you guys.
Yeah,
we were
the original Spittin Chiclets. Merls. You know that.
You and VC?
Yeah, me and Ryan Vesey. We started like this pro story. Oh man, it was bad.
No,
anyways,
it's great. You guys,
it was good, but it was just
Since,
never released.
Since you started the new podcast, have there been any other Russian stories that you've remembered that were different from the ones that you came on and told us? Because there's a few iconic ones, and we probably should play the hits, and you should probably retell the Russian gas one as well as the ghost in your apartment. But has there been any other ones that have came up? And
he was babysitting too, remember?
Babysitting?
Weren't you? Wasn't that the Russian story? We had to like watch the family. Who was that?
What? No,
we had a guy who like ended up like watching these kids. I don't even remember.
The family moved in when you went on a road trip.
No,
right?
that was It was my It was my teammate.
Oh,
it
okay. I thought it was like a Russian family. I don't
know.
know.
No, it's my teammate. He was played long enough in Belarus that he got like a Belarusian passport. So he had a Canadian one and a Belarusian one, and he was like it was like right around, I don't know, we were like playing in one of the Prague or something, like not Russia. So he was like traveling with his Canadian passport, but then like we had a game at the end of the road trip that was in Russia, and he didn't have he's supposed to use his Belarusian passport, so he couldn't like get into the country, and they sent him back to Belarus to get his passport. And he came home and he like went to put his key in, and then like it was like locked, like it was like the inside, like the bolt was bolted, and he was like, what the fuck? It was like 4 a.m. And then he finally just knocked. He's like, I think I'm at the right apartment. He knocks on the door, and like the landlord opens the door, like no shirt on. There's like a dog barking. He's like, and the guy was like, Kevin? And he's like, yeah. And then he realized that for like 6 months, these guys were just moving back in. The family was just moving back in when he went on the road. And so the ghost part was that he was like kind of throughout the year until this happened. He was like, man, there's some weird shit at my apartment. Like things are getting moved. Like things.
Like, I don't.
Yeah, it's a plaza for another team, like, the Miners.
Yeah. It's like it's all of a sudden it's like clean and shit. It's like so he was. Then he came back to when he met us, the team. He came back like white as a ghost. I'm like, what happened, dude? He's like, you'll never believe what happened. And he was paying like $4,000 a month too. Like, it was nuts.
Did you have to stay
Russian? It was so
Did you have to stay in the Baza when you were playing over there?
Yeah, we in Kazan we did. But it was like Kazan was actually, it was not bad though. Like the whole they had like a nice Baza, but Neftahimik was kind of, it was like
that's where we hung out, and you were like, this is the worst place. And your coach, you hated your coach, I remember.
Well, we had like 6 coaches throughout, like before Christmas. They were like firing coaches like mid-game, and then like it would be like a new coach on the bench. Like, where did this guy come from?
New guy calling lines, just juggling the lines.
It was
like, who the fuck's this guy?
It was like he's like they're calling out the lines, and it's like a new guy, like I've never seen before.
Was one of them English, or were they all Russian guys?
No, the first guy was Finnish, and then they hired that couple. Like then it was like the GM like fired the guy and became the coach like in mid fucking period. And then it was nuts. And then there was like one more firing, and then that's when they did that Krikenov, who was
the Krikenov. Oh.
Yeah, whose like name is when I came on here that time and talked about him, is like his name's like Vladimir. I was calling him like Igor the whole time, and like Russians were pissed, man. They were like, the guys, people calling him like it'd be like Matt Babcock if they were talking. You know what I mean? Like I was just butchering this guy's first.
Thinks that if I showed up to Russia, I'd be killed instantly. Do you think
that's what we think? We think that he's
no,
on the no-fly list.
I don't think. No, because they're like very like 24 hours, and then they like forget about it. like when I remember getting recruited by a team, and I was like, I just talked to like one of their players, and they like didn't pay the players, and the GM was like, "You come here, we got this." I go, "You didn't pay the players last year." "Oh, that was 3 months. That was a long time ago." And I was like, "That was 2 months ago." You know, they just like act like it didn't happen after. So you'd be fine.
What Baza for listeners who don't know? The Baza that you're talking about? What is that?
It's just like, I don't know. It's like some army barracks. It's like they make you stay. I don't even know. It's like
is it because they don't trust the players where they're gonna go out the night before and get all banged up on vodka? Like were a lot of the Russian players, were they alcoholics?
No, I don't think that's like a real thing over there. Like I don't think
No such thing.
I don't think they had like depression, anything. No, no, I don't know. That's a good question, Biz. Like I think it's more of a control thing. Like they want to know exactly what you're doing. I mean, granted, we did get 1 day off. I remember in Neftahimik, it was like 60 days, and we got 1 day finally away from the rink. Or maybe that was in Kazan. I can't remember. But like the 1 day we got away from the rink, because they would make us like come and take like a sauna like that. Like even if it was a day off, they still had to come. So the 1 day we got off, like the guy got thrown in jail. Like guys were like starting riots and stuff. Like, it was like nuts.
They went hard. There was so
they
few
went
days
really
off
hard, and I think it made
they'd go.
Yeah.
They would go, and they'd go all night long
All
because they don't know when the next day off's coming.
When they get those breaks, don't they all head over to like Dubai to get into some weird shit?
Yeah, no. We had a team trip like our entire team was paid to go to Dubai during the Olympic break in 2000, whenever it was in Sochi. We were in Dubai for like, but then it was like 5 days of like vacation, and then it was like we were like training in Dubai, like running through people's like vacation. We were like running on the beach. People were like on vacation. We're just like running. It was nuts. Like it's just like they can't go. It's like they're how it is with like the training camps and shit. It's
oh my god.
Then again, like everything I say is from like how I see it. I mean, there could be other guys that go there and they're like, it wasn't that bad. It's like, well, to me, there was times that were kind of fucked up. Right?
You said that there's no depression over there. Like
I was kidding. I'm just saying, like they don't have. When you said alcoholic, I was like, they probably don't have any of that. Like mental health's not even a thing over there. It's just like
it hasn't hit there yet.
Yeah,
along with they're still getting 90s.
Like if you were like,
movies.
oh, I'm just depressed, coach, they would have no
What the
idea
fuck's
what's
that. We're all depressed.
They'd probably just shoot you.
If you haven't heard Timmy's episode 215 back in November of 19, legit top for me, top 2 or 3.
Oh, I was crying because I'd
so
never heard
funny,
any of these stories. Like Whit, you'd probably already heard those already, right? From his experience.
Still hearing them again is just
kind of. I mean, yeah, dude, it's been weird since. I mean, it's just weird because we had a lot. That was so much fun, but like I didn't think anything of it. Next thing, now
and then it blew
now
up.
I'm like the Russian gas man. Like what the fuck? I got.
Well,
kids.
there you go. Can of worms. We got to get into that now.
No, like
gas.
It's amazing how much you guys have taken over the hockey world. It's crazy.
Do you have a lot of people when they see you just come up and mention the Russian gas every
100%.
time?
Like I have to tell people, I'm like, I played too. Like I did play once. Like they think like
I
I
was
was
just a comedian.
They think, yeah, that's the other thing is like all of a sudden like I like perform. I'm like, guys, there's fucking stories that I still.
You're like, I was really good, man.
Like I still wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like suffering.
I played the NHL.
Tell us another PTSD incident. Anyways,
what was your what do you think your funnest stretch of hockey was when you were playing pro? Like when you were in the NHL, when you were having the most fun?
Winnipeg, I think. Winnipeg, Finland. I actually had a lot of fun in Finland my first 2 years pro, but it was all fun. It was fun. I mean, you guys know it's kind of. I mean, do you guys miss it?
I don't miss the game. I miss the guys. I don't. Really
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I don't miss playing that much.
And getting all nervous.
Yeah, I don't miss like getting the body warmed up and trying to keep up to all these young guys, but the like competition and the competing, and then after winning, just like being with the guys and like going out for pops afterward, like that is an ecstasy that's hard to rival, right? It's hard to get back there, and that's why when you finish your career, you have to have something that excites you and brings you to something close to that level. And I would
that you're pushing towards.
Yeah, like just as a group with a bunch of guys, like one common goal, right? And the competition aspect to me is the one thing that I do miss. Like I was fortunate though in the last couple of years to win a Calder Cup, and I know it's not a Stanley Cup, but just to be around for that type of run and seeing guys accomplish a goal together and with an amazing group, that's what I miss most. But I don't miss walking around looking like the Michelin man because I got heat packs all over my body on my fucking from my toes to my head.
No, you're right.
What I miss?
What?
I miss because of having to skate and work out, being in shape.
Oh, I know.
And I had to eat better. I miss the like you have to skate and you have to work out, and because of that, you're not like really gross when you're not in clothes. So I really do miss that I was forced to be in way better shape than I am currently. I miss that.
And then like you have to like let go to like the level of commitment, meaning, My wife comes home, like she says she's gonna be home at 7. She comes home at 7:10. I'm like, you would be fired. Like, you know what I mean?
I know.
Like,
I
the
know.
boss would have
Merls
left.
always talks about that.
You know, and it's just like, it's like I gotta I had to let go of that for after a while, because it's just like people aren't on the same. Not that I'm perfect, but you know what I mean. It's just like time.
You're so petrified. You're
What are
always
you,
like, I gotta be.
what
on
are you,
time.
bag skater? You make her put on the rollerblades and do double
running.
dickies
No,
at
I
the
gotta
block?
run. Yeah.
The 5-mile run in training camp. Now,
She
one
stays
other,
in the fucking Baza, I'll tell you that.
so I don't know how many people who are watching live right now are aware that you actually had Keenan as a coach over in Russia.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? Because we had him on and actually lost the audio. It was like a malfunction that we had. But what was it like being coached by him? Was he as intense as they say he was?
We had him on our podcast. It was like I was like facing my fucking bully, my bully.
You brought him on Raw Knuckles?
Yeah, we brought him on Raw Knuckles, and I was like, I was like nervous, and I don't even think he remembered me.
He's like, you played for me? Oh,
Yeah,
I don't even remember that.
Jim? And I'm like, it's Tim, dude. Fuck. Anyways, yeah, he was nuts. I think my story, my experience is like a lot of others. It's, when I first met him, like when he, like, I think I saw, not to repeat, but I guess I will.
No, people haven't heard.
A lot of new
10 years
audience
ago.
here.
This was 270 episodes ago, by the way. I when I got traded to him, like I grew up as an Iron Mike, like I grew up in the Chicago, and he was like early 90s. He was like Iron Mike. So I knew a lot about him. I never met him, but I remember calling my parents or my dad, and I was like, dude, I'm playing. Like, it was kind of a moment of like, whoa, it's kind of weird. And so he calls me, and he's just like, dude, he was like the best. He was just like, we traded for. He gave me some analogy. Or he gave me some like, I believe because they won it the year before. So he was like, to win it 2 years in a row, you got to like change 15%. I don't know, some bullshit. That clear. I think he was just making shit up. But he was he was like, yeah, he's awesome. And I was like, when you get here, like, so I flew over there. I met him in person. There was a day off, so I didn't, we didn't have practice. So I was just me and him, and my wife was pregnant at the time, and she was due like pretty soon. And he was like, you're going home. Like, he was all about family, like a really good dude. Like, he was just like, when she goes into labor, you can go home for whatever, 5 days. So that was cool. And then like the next day was practice, and we get there, and we're, I don't really know anybody. I'm like getting dressed, and I'm like tying my skates, and like Keenan comes like bombing through the door, and his back's to me, so he doesn't see me, but he's just like, where the fuck's Stapleton? Like, he's just asking, like, where's, like, saying my last name, where's Stapleton? And like, finally, I'm like, hey, I'm behind you. And he just turns around, and he's just like, what position do you play? He's like, I never heard of you. I don't know. I didn't know we traded for you. And I'm just, I was so confused. I just took it. I was just like, I play center. Like, you know what I mean?
We just talked yesterday.
I just went with it. And I was like, yeah, I'm good at face-offs. But I was like, I wanted to be like, dude, the fuck are you talking about?
Iron Mike Alzheimer's.
But that was
bipolar.
He just didn't want to make you feel comfortable. I think that was the thing. I forgot who said it. Was like that was the one thing. He's like, you just never knew what this guy was going to do or say. And he had me on a line. This was like the day my first practice was the day before our first game. He had me on a line that practice. And then the next day he had me on a different line in the morning skate. And then by the time the game started, he had me on a third, like completely, it was 3 different lines. And he likes to call up, like, he doesn't just call the centerman up. He's like, he'll call like Stapleton, Whitney, this and that. Like, he'll call all 3 guys. And like, he called a centerman that wasn't my centerman. Out of the 3 centermans I had in the less than 24 hours, he didn't call one of them. He called some other one. And then he called a left winger, and he's like, Stapleton, take the right side. So like my first shift with him was like with guys that it was just like a mess, And so he was just like shit like that, where I was just like, why? I don't know.
Testing your mentals. And wasn't it so the time that you ended up going back, and I think it was you who ended up going back and the deadbolt was on, wasn't your groin kind of hanging on by a thread, and he was expecting you to play through injury?
When you mentioned my name, you mentioned my name on the Pat McAfee show. Like, when you do that, my life changes for like 48 hours. Like my hockey card like goes up the value. Like on eBay, like my card goes up from like,
you go to number 1
it
on
goes
hockey
from like
DB,
50
most
cents
searched
to like $2 literally, but then it goes back down. But you told like 3 stories in the one story on that show, and they were like 3, they happened in 3 different years. which is fine. I appreciated it. I was just thinking
Play the hits, baby. Play the hits.
Growing thing was the same year, but it was in it was with that. It was why I got traded, because I had the growing incident. And I like literally couldn't play. That's when I benched myself, and that creaking off was like, and I was just like, I'm not going. Like I couldn't skate. So like I would tell like the Russian guy next to me, the moment I told him like, hey, I'm not going, he was like, his leg was already over the bench. You know how they don't, they didn't give a fuck. They were just like more ice time, you know? So every time my line went out there, this Russian guy just went wheeling out there, and they're finally, they were just like, what the fuck? And I was just like, I'm not playing. Like on my chin strap, I just couldn't skate. And so that's when the next day they let me sit out. And then we still had like one more game on the road. That's when I went to the MRI. Remember that? But because there was like a rumor that came out that we were on strike, like me and Dan Sexton, someone else, because we were on strike because the dollar crashed. And this like had nothing. It's like was so far. Like I was not on strike, so I had to play the last game of the road trip, and that's when I did that MRI, and fucking creaking off became like a doctor. You know what I mean? He was like drawing a 2-on-1 drill, and then he was like all of a sudden like reading an MRI. He was like, this guy's faking it. And I ended up scoring the game-winning goal, and that's when. And then we went home, and we had a day off, and then like the next day we had practice, and he was like giving this speech, and I just kept hearing my name, and I was like, fucking not like, dude, like this guy's got to be like.
You thought he was hyping you up because
dude, I'm like
pumping your tires in Russian.
I'm like fucking nodding my head, looking at the other Russians who have like zero expression, but I'm just like, he's got to be saying stuff good. So he gets done, and like they go, the whole team goes to like the gym to like do a warm up, and I get like taken down to like this dungeon gym, and it's me and the assistant coach, and I'm just like, oh, I'm hurt. They get it, right? And so like I'm like, he's got me going like these minute sprints, like screaming at me, but I'm just still like in my mindset of like they love me, like I'm you know, like I'm not putting this together, like I didn't understand Russian, so I'm just like, oh, whatever, I get it, you know, they care about me, whatever. So this kid comes down, like our second goalie, who's a Russian guy, and he was like not feeling good, so they told him to go down on the bike, and he was like, hey, are you mad? And I'm like, for what? He's like, what Krikenov said. And I was like, what? And he goes, oh, he said that you were like faking your injury and you're not going to practice with the team and you're fined $1,000. Dude, I fucking lost it. I was like calling my agent. I was like, get me the fuck out of here, you know? But that's no joke. I was just like, what? And they were like punishing me. And so like I couldn't be around the team. And then like they trade. Then the next day I was traded.
Oh, fuck. That's too
yeah.
good.
It was amazing. It was actually
I could just picture you in the room like,
oh, dude,
yeah,
I was like,
I'm doing my job.
Yeah,
I had my guy.
Game-winning goal, playing injured, let alone not to mention I'm getting fined, and I can't be like, I'm a cancer to the team apparently. So,
when the ruble crashed, weren't you there? And then like you bought Louis Vuitton luggage in order to like try to like get your value out of the dollar because it was cheaper there than in America.
Everything was way cheaper over there. Like I was getting stuff that, say, for $800, it would have been 2,200 at home.
Rubles. It seems
because in the rubles, you're like, oh, 29 million rubles
Yeah.
just hit my account. This is amazing. They're like, that's $7.
Yeah. God forbid though you didn't have like Louis Vuitton. These guys would come on the bus with like Dolce Gabbana, like
you're
and that was it.
Snapping tape to tape passes for Louis Vuitton roller bags.
Oh yeah. Fuck yeah.
Stapes, thanks so much, buddy, for coming by for our 500. You are a huge part of the legacy, the legend of the show. Episode 215. Once again, if you haven't listened to it, love you, buddy.
That was Ari's job, just to cut me off and give me.
Jesus, tough crowd, eh? You didn't let.
Oh, you guys are the best.
No, I gotta go, Stapes. I think it's all coming to an end.
Hey, Whit, real quick, who's winning this weekend?
With what? The hockey?
No, like the Tyson Fury. No, the PGA.
Oh,
buddy, I put a huge bet on McAvoy.
All right,
he got
divorced,
and he
I
knew he
want
was
him.
getting
I want
divorced already this weekend.
Irish guy
he ran
getting
away
divorced,
with
I
it.
want him.
Fucking A, all right.
And I don't. There's obviously something about like golfers are weird. You know, they're individual people, and it's probably some. Probably a little freeing or something. I guess his relationship had quite obviously been on the rocks. And then what he did last weekend, it's like, all right. So he's plus 750. I put a boatload on him. I actually also doubled up same bet on top 5 plus 185. So I got all my my eggs in the McAvoy basket.
Rubles?
All my rubles.
Got it. All right, guys. I'll let
Thanks
you
so
go.
much, buddy. All right, guys. I have to actually run, but we can't thank everyone enough. I don't know if you're staying on, G, or is this?
Yeah, we got one more guest for just for
right.
these two guys.
I
but
love you
Whit,
guys.
We love you.
And
Whit,
fans
we love you.
out there, thank you so much for your support. Knocking on wood, everything's going to work out. And I love you guys. And this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, this show. And I can't thank you all enough. So see
Love
you
you,
guys.
buddy.
Love you, Whit.
Love you, Whit.
All right, guys.
One
one more or two more guests here. Time to welcome on Terry Ryan and Terry Ryan Sr.
Oh,
boys, great duo. The dynamic duo, baby.
the show just became 4 hours now.
Hey, how apropos. I just finished a Coke Zero. Marvel Comics right there, superstars.
Promoting. Why are you promoting Marvel Comics?
I'm just saying.
Oh, you're saying they're superheroes.
You guys are doing it like Whit and RA did back in the day, sharing the one mic. It's very
Heresy.
fitting that you guys
Magneto
come on.
and Titanium Man. Magneto and Titanium Man. McCartney, man.
Senor, you look like Ernest Hemingway, buddy.
Yeah, you talk Hemingway. I got a poem for you guys in celebration of the 500th episode. By the way, thanks a lot.
Let's hear it.
Okay. Well, you want me to get right to it?
Yeah, I
Get
kind
to
of
it,
want a little
TR.
entertainment from the TR
Think of a
boys.
good question for Senior after this because he doesn't have much to say. I wrote this. As I sat waiting to go to Shinny today, I figured, you know what? This situation requires more than just a hey, hello, how you doing? And boys, I appreciate it. My first episode was episode 100. And I listened before and I've tuned in since. And a lot of good things have happened for me and my dad. So before I want to say thank you before any of this. Anyway, are we ready?
Ready, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, little Beastie Boys
Oh, I love the
inflection
Beastie
at the beginning. Okay, so think Beastie Boys, Paul Revere. That's the beat of this song if it was a song, but it's a poem. Okay, here we go. Here's a little story I got to tell about a few bad brothers you know so well. It started way back in Boston town and took a little bit of time, but they got it off the ground. With Witter, R.A., and Grinelli on controls, they talked shenanigans, hits, fights, and goals. All of their special guests were truly unique, from aging veterans with stories to current players at their peak. They soon added more, not like a segment or a quiz. I mean a rootin' tootin' shootin' pepper pot named Biz. So now they were set and were well on their way. The plan was tight and solid and was now in play. They soon climbed the charts because they broke conventional rules. When they asked me to come on, I tell you, I ain't no fool. I hadn't had a chance to talk hockey in a while, and I knew very well that these dudes were my style. Where was there to go? I'd say nowhere but up. Next came Pink Whitney, Big Deal Brew, and the Chiclets Cup. They came to Newfoundland and partied, and were such good lads. We stayed in touch and did events. They even took my dad. He's an ex-pro too. We like to call him Senior. He likes to get loaded and has a chatty demeanor. There's a story from Vegas and some girls from Guelph. But on second thought, oh man, I think I'll keep that to myself. Armdog and Merls then came on the scene. If the Chiclets were king, Game Notes were their queen. We've had good times and drank a lot of beer with the boys, the fans, memes, and Rick from Red Deer. Yes, the past few years have been mighty fine, despite R.A.'s awful form from the free throw line. He spoke about grade school like he was Larry Bird, then nothing but air. He was throwing up turds. But R.A.'s a gem, please take it from me. And he's soon back again in Shoresy Season 3. Chiclets Cup was fun. We played the odd thriller, and my new arch enemy became the nose-face killer.
Ah, shit.
Had to get him in. But you know what I learned and can really claim? It was a celebration of hockey when we played those games. In a world so divided, these guys speak to everyone. They transcend our great game and are a lot of fun. It's a podcast for the people. No matter what city or town, the Chiclets are united and good people deep down. Congrats to all you guys for what the show became. It's now a big part of the culture of our game. We love you fellas like Captain Kirk loves Spock. Thanks from me and Senior and the boys from The Rock. Congrats, boys, on 500.
Come on, that is incredible.
Take that, Eminem. Wow,
I got tears in my eyes, TR.
Wow.
Senior, how did you give birth to such a wordsmith? How did he learn all that?
Honest to God, it like he's next to me and he is my son, but he is good. I got to say it
because he made me
always good in He was good in language in school, and he was good with words.
Only child with 5 million books around me that senior likes to read. And back when I said RA, when you listen to a vinyl record, there's an absorbing, there's an osmosis because you're reading so I read a lot, and a lot of it was liner notes in albums, and my mom and dad would make me read or write most nights, whether it was 10 or 20 minutes. It could be Rolling Stone magazine, but there was a lot of reading going on. Not that you asked, but anyway.
I got to thank Teddy Purcell because he was the one who originally recommended getting you on the podcast because of all these amazing stories and things that you've been through in your career, Terry. So the fact that you came on board with us, the original episode where you couldn't hear us and it was a disaster to fan base divided. I know that they all love you now, and we couldn't be more thrilled at the fact that you've went on to exceed at so many other things, whether it's Shoresy. Obviously, we love having you involved in Chiclets Cup, all these events now that you're doing, your book, of course. And the fact that you brought that surprise, the poem to our show, we have another one for you. And you mentioned Chiclets Cup. We're going to announce to everyone right now, live on this podcast, the first ever Chiclets Cup coming to Canada.
Wow.
The next one is going to be in Memes' hometown of London, Ontario.
Yo, baby, what a town!
Western,
what a party!
And at end of September, beginning of next season, before the season kicks off, so Western University will be rolling. It is going to be an absolute shit show, chaotic Chiclets Cup coming back to Canada. And Senior, ready for
It'll
one
be a
more rip.
long time since I've been in London, man. Last time I played against the London Knights was 72, and I haven't been back since, so I'm looking forward to it.
We can't
wait,
wait,
Coach. You were an all-star that year.
We'll see you guys at Joe Cool's, baby.
We're going to run it back. Big deal.
Joe Cool's. Let's do it. Boys, listen, we really appreciate it. And, since you guys started, I'm in a parallel universe. I appreciate that you guys have us on and have included us. And me and Senior have been in touch with so many old friends and family and teammates because of all this. And honestly, I think I've said that. I think there's something about good people that we've all gone on to do some pretty good things, knock on wood here, but we're all good people that are a little bit fuck-ups once in a while. But, we're fuck-ups. We're lovable fuck-ups, though. And I appreciate you guys having us as part of this world. He's one of those guys, too.
Now, have you guys found the tarantula in the basement?
What's his name again?
Thanks be to God, I never found it. My wife was out sleeping literally in a tent in the garden, wouldn't come in the house. But I wouldn't give it the satisfaction of saying I'm afraid of a tarantula. So I stayed inside.
I'd rather tarantula than that tent.
yeah. It's amazing how things come full circle. Now, Terry Ryan has invented the fuck tent, all the way from his mom sleeping in the tent because of the tarantula. Now, maybe next Chiclets Cup in London, we need to bring a pet tarantula as maybe like a team building tool. Can you bring a pet tarantula from the Rock?
Bring a pet tarantula. If you said September in London, the weather's still pretty nice. Maybe I'll stay in a fuck tent.
Oh,
save money on hotel rooms. That's a great idea.
We love that.
That's a hell of an idea.
Well,
I don't know if there was anything else you guys have for these boys, but
the chat just wants to know if Dale Morningstar Memes' sister is going to be in London. That is unconfirmed. We don't know if she'll be there just yet, but London, we're coming. We'll see you at Joe Cool's.
She's going to be the ringleader of our team cheerleaders. We're going to have cheerleaders. Danica Morningstar. We're going to get a couple stripper poles in the middle of the room, and that's how we're going to do our intros.
I got one last one, Biz. Terry, Senor, I mean, I've got to know you guys pretty well. I come up and visit you a few years ago. It's a pleasure and honor to call you guys dear friends of mine, and I'll be back there this summer. I love you guys, and thanks for joining us on our 500. It's been an honor, boys.
Can't wait to see you. All of you guys, I consider my real close friends. I
see all of you guys. Honestly,
love you guys.
Yeah,
I'm so happy.
Trust you and respect you.
And a special love you, boys. Connor as well. I know you were Connor the other day. You said the Instagram thing. So
the con man's father passed away. It was an Irish wake. When people pass away around here, we tend to do the Irish wake. And boy, we sent him off well in the middle of the. I went home at 3:00. Me and the con man had a load in us, but we had a great time.
Good,
good. You guys are legends. We love you, boys, and we can't wait to see you in London.
Visit Newfoundland. Newfoundland was a fucking time, I'll tell you that.
Those guys are the best, aren't they?
Yeah,
They're just
really
the
are.
absolute best.
All right, boys, we're about to wrap up here. I mean, Biz, we got to obvious thank the fans. I mean,
Yeah.
we're so blessed and lucky to do what we do, especially me. I mean, Angie, we come
Me
from
too.
out of nowhere. We live with 2 peckerheads, live with 2 other peckerheads, and it's been a wild ride, and nothing without the fans. I mean, we go anywhere, whether it's a road trip, I go to the Warren Tavern, or if I go, I always run into somebody, and it's awesome. People are like, do you ever get sick of it? I was like, fuck no, man. I was
Never.
always a ham and egg when I was a kid. I always want to be whatever. Wanted people to know who you were, and it's people come up to you, strangers, and say they love what you do. It's the ultimate compliment. I always say, if you see somebody and you like what they do, fucking tell them, man. It's good to share with them, and it validates what they do, and they want to hear it. But I can't thank the fans enough, Paul. It's just 8 years of this. The numbers been consistent, and the fact that 8 years of a podcast that people still listen to us, I can't get over that, especially with my voice, with our idiocy. We're on it, and we love you guys, and I'll send
We're
over
all
Paul.
idiots. Even the
all of
people in the chat, we're all idiots, and that's why we love each other. And just to reiterate what you're saying, RA, like the fact that we get to wake up every morning and have a purpose in our lives, and especially for me, like retiring from hockey, the fact that like something became even more important than my hockey career afterward. I'm just forever grateful to you guys. We love you guys. Like I said, you're the reason why we get up in the morning, and we keep striving to provide you guys entertainment. And we're just one big happy family, and we are forever grateful. We love you. And what a 500th episode. And let's keep going, man, all the way to 1,000.
One last thing, guys. 500 episodes. It's a lot of people put in a lot of work just besides us 4. Behind the scenes, salespeople, people at Barstool, especially our editors and all of our producers. I get a lot of credit. I get a lot of shit too from the team, but we have a lot of guys behind the scenes. Fish, Pasha, Dale. There's so many guys that help us out. So shout out to them. And again, most important, shout out to Chiclets Nation. It's been a tough year for me. So just Chiclets Nation has come through. Came through for Wit. So you guys changed my life, and you change it every day. So I love Chiclets Nation and Biz, RA, Wit. I love you guys.
Love you too, buddy. You nailed it. The support that you guys showed G through this difficult time, and as well as Wit the other day with what he's got going on, and throughout any of our tumultuous times, you guys are the best. You guys are our rock, and what a great way to end it, G.
Yeah, G. I'm gonna just to piggyback on that, and like you guys. I can be a pain in the ass sometimes. I don't mean to, and it's been like, geez, apples and cantaloupes with me and G going through right now, and I just love you guys, and I just want to thank you for empathy and understanding what I've been through lately. I love you boys, and fuck it, let's do 500 more.
Let's
See you
go,
in London,
baby.
boys. See you in
The
London.
Godfather. See you in London, everybody. Woo-wee!
How do his mother seem like this?